Well, how do you do, young Willie McBride? Do you mind if I sit here down by your graveside and rest for a while in the warm summer sun? I've been working all day and I'm nearly done. I see by your gravestone you were only 19 when you joined the Great Fall-In 1916. I hope you died well, and I hope you died clean. Oh, young Willie McBride, was it slow and obscene? Did they beat the drum slowly? Did they play the fife slowly? Did they sound the death march as they lowered you down? And did the band play the last post and chorus? Did the pipes play the flowers of the forest? Did you leave your wife or a sweetheart behind? In some fateful heart is your memory enshrined, although you died back in 1916. In that fateful heart were you forever 19? Or are you a stranger without even a name, and frozen forever behind the glass frame? In an old photograph, torn and battered and stained, and fading to yellow in a brown leather frame. Did they beat the drum slowly? Did they play the fife slowly? Did they sound the death march as they lowered you down? And did the band play the last post and chorus? And did the pipes play the flowers of the forest? Now the sun, it shines on the green fields of France. There's a warm summer breeze that makes the red poppies dance. And look how the sun shines from under the trees. There's no gas, no barbed wire, there's no gun firing now. But here in this graveyard, it's still no man's land. The countless white crosses lie nude in the stand. To man's blind indifference to his fellow man, to a whole generation that was butchered and damned. Did they beat the drums slowly? Did they play the fife slowly? Did they sound the death march as they lowered you down? And did the band play the last post and chorus? And did the pipes play the flowers of the fall? A young Willie McBride, I can't help wondering why. Do all those who lie here know why they have died? And do they believe when they answered the call? Did they really believe that this war would end wars? The sorrow, the suffering, the glory, the pain, the killing, the dying was all done in vain. For young Willie McBride, it all happened again, and again, and again, and again, and again. Did they beat the drums slowly? Did they play the fife slowly? Did they sound the death march as they lowered you down? Did the band play the last post and chorus? Did the pipes play the flowers of the forest? Greetings, greetings, friends. How you doing? Just the one today, young Willie McBride. I guess that should be probably sung a bit more powerfully, or just kept really soft. I kind of had it in the middle, so I don't think that came across too well. I guess it's a song, Second World War. All those, well, that's another story. It's another conspiracy in itself. What really happened in the Second World War? really happened in fucking 9/11, you know. We don't know what happened yesterday. We don't even know that. We're just relying on third parties for everything. And yeah, the Second World War is a big clusterfuck in itself in terms of trying to find out the truth. You're led down many different alleyways. The only important thing that I take from Second World War now, well, not, you know, outside of realizing that so much of it is steeped in fakery, from the Nagasaki, Hiroshima bombings to the D-Day evacuations to the bombings in Dresden, all this sort of stuff. You know, I believe all of these just stagecraft, and for the most part, Nagasaki and Hiroshima would have been cleared of people and then just destroyed for the purposes of rebuilding. This power that's in play is earthwide. So, you know, who knows what the ultimate, I guess in the last century, if you take away the war aspect of it, it's been a century of unification in one sense. The earth is so much smaller now, isn't it? And any rogue nations, as they're called, have been brought back into the fold in one big sense. Now, that could be for many different reasons. World domination comes to mind, you know, and this being the ultimate goal of the powers that be. But there's another possibility that we're investigating here, and we're making great strides, actually. Excellent strides, more revelations. I figured out what the cryptic comment. Remember, I asked it, anyone any ideas? It was someone left me a message just saying, "Sharpen your saw." Simple as that. What's that? Why would someone leave that sort of message? And saw was in capital letters. So I figured out what that's about, and that's a pretty big realization as well. Actually, it's pretty massive. It's all connecting. It's all connecting. It's all about frequency and vibration, and we can see that sort of theme ongoing. When I was thinking about, anyone who's been listening knows how I feel about Radiohead and their role in all of this. You know, they're certainly insiders, and they're certainly Flat Earth band as well. But all the bands are, I think, as well, just different roles to play and different sort of levels they're at. But Radiohead, pretty much a top band. They're probably the biggest band in the world, and for good reason in one sense. But they've also been placed there. They did the soundtrack to the 9/11 movie that we were presented with. Literally a movie. So literally what we saw on their television, and when you sat down first and you saw the second plane crashing to when you saw the second building collapsing, everything you saw there was pre-made. Simple as that. That's where I'm at. I have no intention of moving from there. Everything was pre-made, tried out on a test audience as well. I talked about that before. And Radiohead, Kid A, when played alongside this 102-minute movie, then you have the soundtrack, and it's perfect, and it fits perfectly as well. Song number 10 of all numbers, X marks the spot, is motion picture soundtrack. So I knew Radiohead were a big part in all of this. You know, when it came to the dodo, and I typed in Radiohead and the dodo, amazed to find that Tom York, his nickname as a child was Dodo. So, you know, we know this is more clues left for us, and this is a trail, a clue in a real sense. If you remember the opening of Alice Through Looking Glass, it was the black kitten. I was thinking about chapter 11. I knew that chapter 11 was of significance. I didn't expect it to be the shortest of chapters, with only a few short words in it, one sentence. But yeah, chapter 11, the chapter is entitled Waking. That's where we're getting to, 9/11. Getting back to the three below, we're divided above. Getting back to below. And that's always been encoded. So, yeah, so Radiohead playing a central role in all of this is no surprise in one sense. I was just glad to get the confirmation from it. Then you start thinking about the name itself, Radiohead. Never made sense to me too much before, but now it does. Now it makes sense to me. It's all about frequency and vibration. And we can set up that frequency ourselves. I've talked about that before in terms of our heart. and just having a sort of symbiotic, how would you say, just sort of energy flow within, with the heart being the center, connecting the spinal cord from the top to bottom, from the groin area up to the very top of your head. And this is all very possible, but you can set up a vibration. I think this is another big key as well. This is something that's within our power to do. Bumblebee becomes significant, the bumblebee, and the sound it makes more and more particularly. Zzz. Even do a zzz sound yourself, and see what sort of frequency or sort of vibration it sets up. If you remember those, what were they called? I think they were, it was Himalayan sort of not crystal bowls. They were sort of brass bowls. I can't remember. There's a particular name for them anyway, but pretty much it was just a brass bowl or whatever material it was made from, and just had water inside it. And you had this little handle thing, and you stirred it around the outside of it. So you were setting up a vibration. And then you see all the water jiggling and jumping and behaving in this fluid manner, I guess, just based on that motion itself and that fine vibration that's been set up on a continual basis. We're capable of doing that within. Bumblebee will vibrate to a certain extent and then just nullify the ether around. That's the way I understand that the bumblebee navigates. Otherwise, you have to explain then how can a bumblebee fly in a straight line? And this has been recorded, official sources. I mean, you know, whatever. How can a bumblebee fly in a straight line, 30 miles an hour, with a 30-mile-an-hour crosswind? That would seem impossible under any standard circumstances, you know, or standard thinking. So what I think the bumblebee does is he increases that vibration and he nullifies the ether around. We're living under a magnetic field. That much should be clear to anyone and everyone at this stage. I think it's time we all have to start doing our own thinking. I was on, sure, I knew all this sort of stuff would be going on anyway, you know, but I was on with Imric just briefly, trying to get a point across, but it's a hopeless case when you're dealing with the likes of Mark Taylor and Curved Water after a certain point. But wasn't it funny that I was sort of blocked from the transmission accidentally, apparently? So no one got to see what I was trying to do, but I might go through that again, just with a bit of peace here, because I have a few more things to add as well to it. But it's interesting just to keep it at the forefront, because it's a clear indicator that you're dealing with a serious puzzle here, and this is a stepping stone to a greater solution. But yeah, try making a bumblebee sound, A to Z, A to Z. Yeah, Jesus, Hosanna. This is the key. What do you call it? And we're all capable of doing this, of course. Now, I think this is a big secret as well. Jaws was a clue. Saw, Jaws with the teeth. It's about the teeth. Think about teeth backwards. It's H, teat. A teat is a dodo, a woman's nipple. You know, a teat, or not necessarily a woman's nipple, but you know, it's a nipple used for feeding the essentials. A newborn infant. These are essentials for a newborn infant, and it's mother's milk. You know, when you think of your teeth, you have eye teeth. What, your third eye teeth? You have milk teeth, mother's milk teeth, that nourishing goodness, vital for our continued existence within this realm. This is all a game. This is ultimately all a game. I said it before. It's about the individual as well, waking up to the game, and doing what you do with what you find out. But I think ultimately this is the purpose. So if you leave here and you haven't solved the game, you'll be disappointed, I think, because ultimately I think it's the purpose of us entering. But the way I see it, it's all coming to an end anyway. So we're all going to end up on the fast track. But, you know, the puzzle is still live and it's still waiting to be solved. And we're very close. We're absolutely so close now, especially with these realizations today. ZZ top. You know, that's another clue. I was talking about your teeth. You have your milk teeth, your eye teeth, your canine, that's a big one, your canine teeth, right? Canine dog, dog backwards God. When you lose, oh, here's another connection, yeah. Wisdom teeth. You have your wisdom teeth, right? What? That's why would that be? Well, it's about the vibration that you set up yourself. So if you think about it, I've been talking about men out there hanging on to your vital bodily fluids, which is your semen. Of course, we all should be trying to eat well, think well, um, just do things completely different. I actually think there's a sort of an onus on anyone now to do the blood over intent. I had another getting over with these clowns. Anyway, I know that anyway, but it's illegal to use the legal name. And in this realm, this is about you getting to know who you are and your true powers. You are the true king or the true queen. It's just about you waking up to it. Which was back to chapter 11 called Waking. Yeah, 9/11. All of this is tying in to this greater puzzle. I know there's going to be problems with chat. I'll have to work out what to do. Like, all the likes of Mark Taylor, just all they're about. There's no positive, at this stage, there's no positive feedback whatsoever. And that's one thing that's, I think, has been lacking from the chat as well. And, if there are genuine people out there, I know there are people out there who are playing their part. And I accept that. But if there are genuine people staying away because there's this disruption and there's this purposeful intent of keeping people away from truth, or making it difficult at least. There's no one keeping anyone away from anything. We're due to find something out, we find it, so it's a difficult one to juggle. I haven't put any wrenches out or whatever. But I definitely like some feedback. That's one thing I seem to be getting from many people. And it's a puzzle that concerns us all. That's what I started to say on the other thing, that this puzzle that I'm going to go through again, pivotal puzzle, because it connects everything. So we can move on from there. We already knew the solution before I returned to it, but you can understand then of the sort of significance of it in terms of its scope. I mean, am I crazy for thinking these things? Not in your Nelly. Not in your Nelly. Like, you have people on all sides, and you're seeing things. You're looking for things that you bullshit. Let me decide that. I've been through all this stuff enough. I was going to say nonsense, and it is really. It's all part and parcel of a nonsensical system. There's no truth in the system. That's the way it's designed. So we have to bear that in mind as individuals. I mean, you know yourself, your own position, and where you're coming from. I know there are a hell of a lot of completely honest people out there, but it's a very confusing time. It's absolutely a very confusing time, I can imagine, for some. Not for me, really. Not for me. I went on with Spaceman last night, just for a chat. And well, apparently the likes of Gem Panda and Negator XX, who would be pretty top level actors, I'm thinking, because they've been in this for so long and they can hold their own in any sort of argument, but they view him as the leader. I don't think it's in any sort of army sense, just more so in terms of the role that they have. You just bullshit as much as you can, waffle as much as you can. Any important points are brought up, then you divert away from them. What do you think about 9/11, Spaceman? Oh, no, I don't want to talk about that right now. Okay, grand. Yeah, that tells you everything there. So, I mean, not you need any telling anyway. So, yeah, it will be a very confusing time for some people. But hold true, hold fast, and you'll get there. You'll make it through. So, cheers. The first can, by the way, Chris, Truth Seeker. Well, my first, I had two pints of beer, or 2 pints today. It's my first can now, just in case you're checking. But yeah, so I mean, there has to come a time you just have to leave this crowd behind, and that's certainly what I've done. I got a bit frustrated, but that's just what are you going to do when you're trying to say something? Someone's just constantly interrupting you, and you don't get any further. That's their idea, though, just piss you off and just sort of get your goat up. But I'm grand. I mean, I don't kick the wall or punch the dog or something. No, but yeah, I'm thinking it can be a very confusing time for a lot of people, and yeah, that's all I'll say. That once you get to flat Earth, then this puzzle is live, and it's there, and it ties everything, absolutely everything else in to it, especially everything within our fabricated reality. It gives a context for everything, and for me, it gives. I'm pretty happy now that that is the case, and I'm also, I mentioned before, 420 bring a smile to your face, because of all the connotations to it, especially if you're a cannabis user. Video came out recently, and I've been seeing it as well. Why has cannabis been decriminalized or legalized worldwide? Why all of a sudden now? Well, the 11 years from September Clues came out, 11 years exactly, and that'll be next year, 2018. 2018 was always going to be the year. It'll be 17 years since 9/11. 717 is 8. 8 is the lucky number. 8 and 13, or 8 and 420. Yeah, more so. They're the two big numbers, but 13 as well, and 11, of course, 11. So anyone in lottery, thinking of doing the lottery, I'm thinking a combination of those numbers will get you paid out. Everything is fixed. There's no bones about it. But the great thing about some of the fixed things are they can't be changed, you see. This puzzle is live, and the very fact, which I'm going to go into in a second, the very fact that it's so broadcast. I mean, flat Earth we were encouraged all around, weren't we, to jump into flat Earth. Have you satisfactorily dealt with the question as to why that might have been? I think you have to deal with some of these questions to move on, and there's a place to move on to. Yeah. So that was a great, that's what I was just talking about. That was a great revelation then today with the teeth. So the clue being sharpen your saw. A saw has teeth, right? So this seems to be a big thing as well. Brilliant. When Bill Clinton said it depends on what the meaning of the word is, that's what he's referring to. Forget about the literal nonsense. It's all about frequency and vibration. And the bumblebee makes zzz sound. Zzz. Jesus, Superman. It's all about the zzz sound. So when Bill Clinton was saying that, it's truth in plain sight. Truth in plain sight. Just to show you the whole, it's unbelievable. Like, just to show you that the answer that I came up with to be the final answer, which was beneath the hidden hand emerging from the north wing center with X marking the spot, and 88 being the hidden hand behind it, was straight in front of me all along. Amazing. Straight in front of me. I'll show you now, just in terms of the curtains on the window. See the 88? It's 88 all the way up, and look at the X marks the spot on the top of the window. Fuck off, won't you? Unbelievable. Like, that's the ultimate answer. So the ultimate answer to everything, I would say, if I was to ask the most concise ultimate answer to everything, knowing why it is the answer, would be 88, because that's behind everything, the hidden hand. 420, because that's the number of years set for when the dodo was discovered, when everything changed. Whether it be, I think it must be a simulation at this stage. It has to be a game theory and experience. 420, which was always going to be the end point, or the starting point, and X marks the spot. Yeah, at the North Wing Center. Now living in the X time as well. I said at the end, my computer here is Asus X series. You have SpaceX, X Factor. That's saying you were living in the X times. Donald J. Trump, X, J is 10. So it's all theater. Every bit of it is theater. What it's waiting for is you as an individual. I don't know anyone else out there. We're just complete individuals at the end of the day. The way I see it, anyway. I might be a bit strong in that aspect, but you know, it's the way I feel it anyway. Maybe it's just down to how my own life is, but I do feel it like that. But I haven't come this far. What I'm saying is that there is further to go, if you so choose to go there. That's the ultimate thing. I was going to say is legal name. I was talking about that earlier on. You have to know who you are in this system, in this world. You know, if a wrong has been done by you, we have to resist it in some way, right? So, you know, first of all, if we're out for the truth, we'll have the truth, warts and all, and then we'll see what to do with it. The difficult part is knowing what to do with it, or deciding what exactly to do with it. That's for sure. But yeah, if we understand the greater picture, a greater context, that will affect and maybe even determine how we might move forward in terms of some of the information that we've come across. With the teeth, yeah, tooth fairy, you get rewarded. I was just mentioned Donald Trump. DT is 420, so that sort of says it all. But yeah, just finish that. So on the curtains you have 88. On the top of the window, dodo, you have the X's everywhere. Common enough in most houses, I'm sure, but this is how it's done. This is where the truth is in plain sight. Went into the statue of King Arthur in the middle of Limerick, pointing south. Everything is reversed. So he was pointing south when Arthur, and again, Arthur, we are Thor. Thor had his frequency hammer, right? So we can set up our own frequencies. Remember Lucille Ball talked about receiving, hearing voices in her head after receiving fillings or something, thinking she was picking up radio frequencies. Not quite literal, don't take it literally. The idea being that we can generate these frequencies with our teeth, with that vibration. So all of those fluids inside us that I've been saying to hang on to. It's easier for women. I can't speak for women, you know, but I know that men's semen, men's vital fluid, like, you know, is ultra powerful. And imagine that crystalline. So imagine crystalline, not, you know, this is just biological, but more than that even. Imagine that crystalline. So I think you have to sort of imbue that around your body and then crystallize it via this a humming. Maybe it's the opposite. I thought, you know, they always talk about fluoride crystallizing our pineal gland. So we need to have it in liquid form, or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe it isn't liquid form. It needs to be crystallized. That would make more sense to me in terms of the giant trees. So I think that's a big secret, folks. I think it is. Arthur, and so that's what sort of let me think about it as well. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Hidden Hand, it is the hidden hand. So all the secrets are in there. And Del, if you're there, The Salmon of Doubt. I'm not sure if I have it here somewhere now. Kept on to a few books, and I think that might have been one of them I kept on to. How appropriate would that be? So yeah, that'd be worthy of another look. But The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the main protagonist, the main character, Arthur Dent. Yeah. I knew it was a big part, so dent as in dental, back to teeth again. So I think that's it. We have the ability to set up our own vibrational energies, counteract, ether beyond, and you know, imbue these fluids that we have inside in us. Try it. I'm going to be trying it on a continual basis anyway, just simply zzz. Depends on the meaning of the word is. I think that's the sound. Zzz. You can experiment with a few. So I also talked about alpha and omega, the 0, twisted 0, the infinity is the 8. That's all it is. It's not difficult. It's not mystical, and well, it is in a grounded sense. Everything is just completely fantastical. But there's a sound reasoning and a sound logic behind it all. And it's sort of a beautiful interconnectedness. Someone, Mr. Universe, left me a text message, not a text message, just in the chat, saying that you can't beat the hidden hand. I think it was that. You can't beat the hidden hand. And just to clarify, I understand that well enough. That was never what I was trying to do. What we're trying to do is to work out what the fuck is going on. So yeah, it's not about trying to beat anybody. It's trying to work our way through the puzzle and get sort of maybe closure on everything, maybe something that will explain everything. And that's all it is. There's no talk about beating anybody. And it's also, I think you also said you can't find the hidden hand, they find you. And I wrote back, well, they found me already, but only in the sense that they must be aware of some of this progress. They have to be, you know, and I know for a fact, whoever they are, they would be aware of it. They're aware of everything. So the hidden hand, the HH, the Hosanna, that's an interesting word, isn't it? So yeah, the H representing the 8. Did I write down ZZ Top? Yeah, that came to mind. I catch some Z's, you know, but that's what I was talking about, the alpha to the omega, or the A to Z, the 0 to the infinity. And that's what a 0 is an unfolded infinity. So it's, you know, it's all encompassing. The two terms that are undefined by maths, isn't that funny? The 0 and the infinity. Well, you can't define, and God is even the wrong term. It has, Hosanna maybe is probably a better term. I think God is the imposter in one sense anyway. We know that Genesis 2 and Genesis 1 feature apparently different gods. You know, we have a Lord God versus a God in Genesis 1. Yeah, I think the true name will be beginning with the H anyway. Well, jeez, just thought of it there. Man, I have to get that up. I have to bring that up now because that's so pertinent, isn't it? Okay, let me just get that up. That's so pertinent now. The dark hair, is that? Just Alice in Wonderland. Background. Alice was published since 1865, 3 years. Again, 3 is the magic number. 1865, 9/11. After Charles Dodgson and the Reverend Duckworth, they're pointing you towards birds, right? Rode up the ices. The is 4th of July, Independence Day. Chapter 11 in Alice Through the Looking Glass. Shortest chapter in the whole 2 books. One line, waking. Alice woke up shaking the kitten, so she'd found the clues that she was looking for at the start. A clue is a ball of thread. And remember the kitten, the black kitten, had unwound all the thread, or the wool or whatever. But that's why I brought that up. Isis is excellent association. Excellent association. Catch some Z's, yeah. Remember last chapter, chapter 12, talking about a dreamlike state. What is a dream? What is a reality? It ties into the question, like the most pressing question these days is what is real? If you're down this path anyway. But I also connected Alice in Wonderland with Wizard of Oz. So I think this is another. I think this is another big breakthrough. And even the last one, it has to be intimately connected with the last puzzle. There's only a couple of, yeah, one. Remember I was talking about the sword from the stone. So we have King Arthur, which is the North Center. Arthur Dent, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. He had the X's and the 8s. That's in terms of the statue that was inside in Limerick City here, pointing south. So the sword from the stone, we all know about that Excalibur. Have you the caliber to make it to X, where X marks the spot? Well, sword from the stone, broke it up already. The S word from the S tone. S, Z, Z. Is that the answer? Z? What was the name of the... Oh, man, another character. You remember the character? Quentin Tarantino. Z's dead, baby. Z's dead. Excellent. So everything here is pertinent. From the date itself, 1865. Remember, none of this is real. None of it happened. Yeah, you can see it by look at all God's stuff from the village of God's stove. So God is stowed away somewhere. God is hiding. From Charles Dodgson, giving you the clue that the Duckworth, you know, this is all Robin's son. It's like Rob Earth. So everything is pertinent. Isis associated with the divine feminine. Well, how do we retrieve the divine feminine? By setting up this vibration, I think. So it's the Z sound. Zzz, and get your teeth. If you're blessed, unlike me, to have a good set of teeth, I can still manage it, right? There's no problem. But I mean, a full set of teeth would set you well ahead, I should think. Just set up that Z sound. Zzz, zzz. That's what Bill Clinton meant then. It depends on what the meaning of the word is. Yeah, so it's all vibration. So now we can go through the alphabet and see the different. M is, of course, an important letter. But look, I mentioned this before as well. M and W also must be an opposite. But you can't say an M sound without your teeth coming together and setting up that vibration. So that's another context for the importance of M, outside of being the 13th letter, which references back to the sun as well. This is how all of these things were designed as well. We're dealing with powers beyond our comprehension here. So if you think like that something is just too wild, no, you'll have to think again. This is how it's all coming together. And when the final solution, this is another massive step. I'm glad I haven't rushed anything. Just let it happen. I haven't done any research. I haven't even looked back at the last piece of the puzzle again. But I'm glad now, because I'm sure this is another massive piece in the puzzle as well. For us personally, remember, it's all about finding out what's going on outside as well as inside. And I don't know. I'll just tell you. No, how are we going to? Well, the best way to put it, there's going to be so many illusions shattered over the coming year, I should think. Depending on how involved you are, emotionally or otherwise, in this fake reality will depend on how much you're going to be, I guess, shaken. Shaken, yeah. Shaken, SHEAKIN, shaken. But that's the only way I can see it happening. This has all been preset, and this is why we're experiencing what we're experiencing now. This grand awakening. 9/11 marked the beginning of it for a lot of people, but it was there beforehand. You had a character called Dr. Peter Beater, Funny name, right? But a pretty informative chap who had many a different regular broadcasts back in the old days, back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, that sort of thing. He was the conspiracy go-to man. He talked about all manner of things, including Jackie shot JFK. So he was put in there as well to lead us into this path of awakening, I suppose. And we have to be woken up. If everything is so much more encompassing and so much grander, I guess, than what we have ever taken it for, then we have to be woken up to that reality. And that's the way I see it happening. It's all theater. It's if you're involved in anything that's causing you upset or harm, especially when you're dealing with strangers in terms of government, you have so much power in your own self, and there's so many things that you can do about that. Because now that we know that the legal name fraud is exposed, you go in and try confronting anybody, your local representative, and try getting answers for that. You won't. You'll find you'll be dodged at all corners, and that includes any problems that these people might have with you. Once you let them know that you know this con, then you come back into your own power. You can decide to continue maneuvering your way around the system, or you can you can take it to extremes if you so choose. People have taken it to extremes and gone and lived in the woods. Sounds like a bad idea, right? But who knows? Who knows? But all of these. We must first start off with the truth, and then we can decide what to do with it. And truth is a valuable commodity now more than ever, because there's so much untruth, so much blind alleyways, so much red herrings, booby traps set for you, on the path to truth. Because no one. But the beautiful thing about the truth then as well is that once you make your way through all of these meandering and taxing, challenging paths towards the truth will, I'm absolutely certain, I think we're seeing this as well, will turn out to be beautiful and complete in its utter simplicity. But that's the find of the night again there now. So they rode up the ISIS on the 4th of July, Independence Day, right? Yeah, 3 years. All clues. 3 years. I'm just, beautiful. Look at that. So we have this date, which I represented as 9/11. I also say 4/20 is the key, and 2018. 2018 is 17 years after 9/11. So here's the date that's mentioned here, which is 1862. When you add these numbers up, you get 17. Another thin thread, but this is all pre-scripted, pre-written. The story is already written, and everything is under complete control. So I'm just going to continue on with making note of that. That's a brilliant find, isn't it? And that's just tying in with it's the frequency, it's the sound itself, it's the vibration that we set up within ourselves to unify ourselves. So you can imagine yourself doing that, and you can immediately feel it. You can feel it vibrating through your bones. But imagine doing that in a sort of a meditative basis. You could feel that setting up a harmonious feeling out of this world, I'm thinking. So yeah, that's a big one. And I know now that we found this sound, it's going to come up everywhere as well. Just everywhere. Hosanna was a good one. But the teeth being the key. Yeah, So thank you for the clue. I can't remember who gave me that clue, but the saw. So lovely. What I'm going to do is go through this puzzle again for those with the ears to hear. Just going to comment on a few other things along the way. This is, if you realize the significance of this puzzle, then you'll realize that this really is a grander game. You can come along and say, well, why would they do this? Why would these people in power encode something like this in the first place and have all of the world leaders, as we take it, acting as sort of puppets and just fill-ins, you know, for the greater puzzle? Why would they do this? Well, because exactly that, there is a greater puzzle here. And let me just check that that's coming through. I think Steve Anthony is Clive Adams as well. Aren't you a little fucker, Steve? Played all the different roles you're playing, pretending to be friends. And that's, I mean, fucker, you know, emotionally involved, but I mean, yeah. You play different roles. You're your friend sometimes, and then you're not other times. So you can't get involved too deeply, can you? It doesn't do. But I just heard that on the other hangout. Clive Adams, yeah, another faceless sort of antagonizer from the side. What was I going to do? Oh, yeah, just going to. Just make sure it comes through okay, more than anything else. Yeah, that's cool. I have to stop sharing now because fuck it. Sorry, I shared the wrong one. Hang on. Yeah, again, this will only be for those with ears to hear. I mean, it's not covering any new ground, but it is. It will be beneficial for anybody who's. I don't see where else you can go, really. Honestly, I don't see where else you can go. There's just nowhere else to go except through this to see the greater puzzle that's going on. If you've made it to flat Earth and you've come through all of the different conspiracies, if you don't go here, then you're just going to be stagnant till the end and get caught up in all of the confusion, I should think, you know. And you're perfectly entitled to do that, of course. It's down to you. So that's what I'm just going to go through this again. Okay, now that I have a free and easy chance of doing it. This is The Economist. It's owned by a certain group, but ultimately at the top, it's the same people, you know, it's the Rothschild production. And actually, yeah, I can do that in a minute. But the depiction of the dodo that I have in my avatar, that's also a Rothschild commissioned. I didn't realize this. This is just when you type in dodo, this picture comes up into Google Images. So you just pick that. Looked in later on. Then it is a Rothschild commission, and there on that dodo's back we find the USSR, which is telling us that that's where the USSR belongs on the dodo map itself. So yeah, it's by the same hand. It's by the same hand, and it's only when the dodo was introduced into our thinking that all of this then made sense. So we sort of went about it from not with particularly solving this in mind, but we came back to this after getting to the dodo and beyond, and solving Paul is dead and the hidden hand. as the big secret, the hidden hand emerging from the dodo's wing. And here we see before Alice, we're all of us. Again, Alice and Elvis are very similar, aren't they? Elvis, Alice. Say it again. Say it again. And if you've been looking at any of the depictions of Alice from me reading Alice in Wonderland, it has been pointed out more than a few times that the similarities to Elvis are uncanny. So just very similar phonically there. And it is all about the phonics. So yes, we knew the solution before we entered. We just couldn't figure it out, get proper context for it. But over time, then, over a few days, it all became clear. So this is the ultimate solution. Curved water denial was to kind of go, is this your solution, or is there other people with other solutions, and which solution do we take is correct? And even just explaining it to him, no good, just the same, just nonsense and disruptive tactics. That's all it's about. These people, that's all they want to get you engrossed and involved in waffle, and you're not progressing any further for the most part. Why you have to be reluctant as well. I can rule out dealing with Mark Taylor and curved water to find anything out. Well, not even really, because I'll find out if I'm looking to find something out, right? I'll get an answer from them by their non-answer. So I'll learn more from what they won't or can talk about over what they will. But for the most part, I've left those behind. But I do understand the nature of this arena that we're in. And there are actors everywhere. And I tell you, to be honest, sometimes now, maybe it'll be more help to be got from the baller antagonist actors than the flat earther actors at this stage. And there are a lot of flat earth actors around as well. Making any judgment on the man or the woman, I think all these people are let in on the greater game. So they are playing a role. And it's all about getting you to wake up, you, the individual, putting obstacles in your way, and creating sort of difficult circumstances for you. But then you can move beyond that, you can sort of use that to your benefit and best them almost, So we look at Alice. Before Alice, we realize that we are Alice. Alice is all of us. We pointed out that Alice isn't neither male, female, boy, or girl. And even though there's a few other interpretations, Alice, which is a good one as well, because what was the ultimate cause of this destruction and this broken system that we find ourselves in? There's probably a pertinent story there as well, but we leave that aside for a second. So yeah, arrows before Alice. Remember, this is universal. Pictures are universal. The same meaning can be got across. Doesn't matter what language. Up at the perfect example here. This is the Chinese version of The Economist. All it is, the letters have been changed around, but the picture itself remains standard throughout the earth. All the different countries that it went through. It was published in. So yeah, the picture, that's why we must become like children, so we can read it in that sense, and not the bigger message here as well is to realize that we are observing all of this stuff. It's not part and parcel of us. This is all the theater that I keep constantly talking about, that it's all theater. And pretty much it is. Obviously not your interrelationships with your family and that sort of stuff. But after that, it's all theater. Even your job, it's all theater. It's all fabricated and fake for the most part, And if you are doing something worthwhile, it's usually because, some other fuckers are messing up and you have to go in and help clearing the mess. I'm talking about the medical industry or, something like that. Not the medical industry, the medical profession. And there are a lot of devoted people in the medical profession, but it has become a profession. That's all it is. The hospitals are so bad here because they're hand in hand. The governments are hand in hand with the insurance companies, of course, and there'll be a bigger call for private health insurance. This is what we're seeing everywhere here. So it's all yeah, it's all rotten to the core. But not everyone sees it. So yeah, we have to look. We have to look upon everything as theater, and everything is flipped as well. So the cartoon figures will hold more truth than the real life figures here, and almost brush over them. Uh, and indeed, the very first thing that meets our eye, well, at center stage we have El Turtle here. We just put that in red. Yeah. Why doesn't that change? That won't change color now. Oh, did you? Yeah. I won't change so many colors anyway. Yeah, green is good. It doesn't matter. Okay. Yeah, so center stage, we have our friend the turtle. Anyone knows about flat Earth will know about the sort of symbolic arrangement. You know, we have the turtle with the elephants with the flat Earth. So clearly, the turtle is missing something, and or clue immediately is, yeah, the Earth. So here we see it. It's represented in a flat form, in the shape of a rugby ball, nonetheless, which is pretty close to the dodo. It's pretty close to oval shape, and the outside barrier, ice perimeter, I guess, is oval shape as well, elliptical shape. We got that from, we know the Earth is flat and stationary, so if we reverse what we've been told by science, then the sun has to travel in an elliptical fashion, and that makes good sense as well. Yeah, everything makes sense actually at this stage. But anyway, this tells us this is our puzzle then. So we're on a treasure hunt, and the turtle plays a central role. I pointed out that it has 9 little nails on its toes, and 11 spikes to indicate something is missing. That's just a by the way. So that's our main puzzle. We're Alice. Look, we're before the turtle, so this takes precedent. That's what we must concern ourselves with. So let's start there. Alice is looking up, but before Alice, we have arrows. Arrows point you in a certain direction, right? That's universal. If I point my finger, you ask me direction, I'll point you my finger in one particular way. Same with an arrow. That's just all it is. So we look at the numbers on the arrow. And now coming back into this, realizing that everything is reversed, everything is upside down. So you have these little tools in your mental toolbox to be able to try and solve or to move forward within these puzzles. That's what we learned from Alice in Wonderland. That's what everyone has been pointing you towards, to look at Alice in Wonderland and get the meaning. So this is the context of all of that as well. So that's another thing it solves. So because everything is mirrored, when we unite, we have 11 times 5 and 11 times 3. When we unite them and add them, we get 88. So 88 is HH. Immediately, we're already reminded of Paul is dead. And we've come from a position, Paul is dead, or not Paul is dead, Paul is dead, and Sergeant Pepper's. So it's very reminiscent of that. And if you've been through that, you know, that's already detailed elsewhere, but that's a whole different puzzle in itself. But this is a greater puzzle to that, you know. This is sort of all interplay going on between them, not sort of supporting roles. One is supporting the other. So we know anyway that from Sergeant Pepper's, Paul is the only one with the hand over his head, and this is the starting point when that was attempted to be solved by someone called Jarface, 42 years after it was released. And isn't it funny, if you think about 11.5, 11.3, well, 11.4 would be in the center there, wouldn't it? The missing 11 dot. 11.4, if you read it backwards, it's 4.11, or 1 and 1 is 2. So that's just another potential 42, which is the ultimate answer. 420 is the ultimate answer, but just a possible reference. But anyway, and 88 gives you the hidden hand. You have a look We know that we're on a treasure hunt. We're looking for the turtle's payload. We're looking for the flat Earth. And this is coming at it from a flat earther's point of view as well. And ultimately, that's what it's all about, wasn't it? We're all searching for a map. I was searching for, if it wasn't, it started off with the UN logo, then the Gleason's map came along, and different projections, all of this sort of stuff. Very few at the start, a few years ago. Now you're inundated with 1,000,001 different flat Earth maps. So this should tell you as well that there is a grander puzzle going on here, and it's up to us to work our way through it, which we're doing very nicely at. So anyway, that's 8-8, the hidden hand. So we're using that to move forward. We're looking for the flat Earth ultimately, and yeah, as we take a look through the picture, and this is the thing about how we simplify everything, and be sure that people have gone through every one of these characters and made many different connections that were laid out between them. Going through, you can just see how many different avenues and ways you could go with all of this. So convoluted, and indeed people have spent many, many hours being convoluted and not coming out in the right place. If you don't know about, well, it's not about the dodo, but if I, as far as I'm concerned, I'm the first in the world to solve this, given the absolute correct solution, undeniably. And I don't know of anyone else who has, and if they have done and have an alternative solution, I'd love to hear it. So we find a hidden hand immediately here. The other hand is sort of connected, and it's vague. So we find a hidden hand over Putin. So we remember that our arrows are pointing us the way. So we look at Putin to see, is there any point? And I saw this immediately last year. I didn't know the context of it, but I saw it immediately last year. He's clearly pointing down along the line of the Pied Piper, and the Pied Piper is known for, whistling his frequencies, right? And getting people to trail along, children especially. So just when we see that, continue on the line, just point us in this direction. You end up about there. So this is the nearest object. And we can see clearly we've been pointed in a certain direction, which is down here. So it's a very childlike, isn't it, in a sense? And I explain it like this. And again, the coherency to all of this, that becomes undeniable. So we land here. You can quiz about what these might be. That's not too important. We land here on the flat shape rugby ball. I had these thoughts in the first place about it. I really did have these thoughts a couple of years ago now about the Earth being oval shape. But how would it actually work? Well, we didn't have the dodo in mind then, so nothing could work. Just to show you here, this will come in pertinent later on. You can see, zoom in on that. It's another little clue. And you always get two clues. So you always get one arrow pointing you one way, and you get a supporting arrow just to make sure you know you're on the right spot. Let me just go down with this. Here's an M here. It's pretty clear. You can see this M would be impertinent later on. It's around India here and over to Indonesia. That M is pertinent later on because when we reach the end point, which is at Obama, there's the third M to take into consideration, and that's what I take it's leading us to. So this little boy here is pointing us to here, flat Earth. So we're looking for any sort of directionality. Indeed, we see it. It's the only way that's pointing, right? There's no denying that. So here we get to the bear. You can go into all the details, all you like, how China is a power these days, a real power. Again, the cartoons represent reality, and the actual figures themselves represent theater. So everything is flipped. Another mention of these two references to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. No, don't panic. And the two babel fish for translation. So they were inserted into the ear, and then you could understand anyone from any sector of the galaxy or beyond, just by these fish working with frequencies again. The Babel fish, working with frequencies again. Yeah, you could understand, or anyone who was listening to you could understand what you were saying just because of the Babel fish. I think there is a search engine called Babel fish these days. So that's a direct connection to a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. No denying that. And I just pointed out earlier on just how pertinent that is. It's by the same hand, I'm convinced. So anyway, we make it to the bear. We see if there's any sort of directionality, and immediately we see this arrow here. That's only pointing you one way, isn't it? And you can't deny that. And I saw that the last time as well, about a year ago. So that brings us up to, yeah, I mentioned before, it's like a sort of a Lara Croft obstacle course. In a sense, you follow direct lines and see where they take you. We can continue on. Sorry, we can continue on the line here, and up we get to Angela Merkel. You can see the arrowhead pointing up, so we know we're on the right path. If you think this is too simple, that's fine. That's fine. But one thing you can't do is deny. You won't be able to deny this overall pathway. So we continue up, and then we get to a sort of a resting point here, a stop-go point, and that's where I got stumped the last time. I didn't know where to go from here. You know what I was looking for as well, so it helped when I knew what I was looking for when I came in this time around a few months ago, or a few weeks ago at this stage. So we follow a direct path. There's only two places you can go, isn't it? Along the hands. So if we went left, well, hang on, we got danger here, right? This is where to show you where to throw in conspiracy angles. Look, crapo dust. It's just encouraging you. Fuck it, look, they're admitting to chemtrails. Fucking hell. Again, the dodo will make fools out of the clever. No, it is. That's a different matter, but this is just telling you, hang on, you can't go that way. You'll be cut to bits, cut the ribbons. So we take the left and see where that leads us. Well, we don't see much going on here. Any particular place we can go up our arm. Then I spotted this. You can't miss it, really, can you? Where else would you be going? It's the natural way to go, isn't it? The shadow of Obama's arm. And even if you look at the rest, that shadow shouldn't be there, really. It's sort of, if you look over, where's his shadow? You know what I mean? Where's his shadow broadcast? So this is telling you that, yeah, this shadow has been placed here. So we can see it. It's pointing. Yeah. It's pointing us in a certain direction. So we'll just continue on. Over here. So it's pointing us over this way. And that only leads to one place, which is this guy. Now, not a random guy. You don't need to know anything about him. You can, I think, but I don't think it serves you too well. Just, you could get into all manner of conspiracy and diversions, just talking about what that might represent there. But what's most important, look at the arrow. It's an arrow, right? There's no mistaking that that's an arrow. We've been following the arrows. So we'll follow this one as well. We'll go up along. And yeah, lo and behold, we meet a sort of a juncture here. So how about we go left? Well, no, there's a block here. Look, it's a red for stop, a universal red for stop. So we go right. And we blend into these two characters. Where do you go from here? Well, everything is pointing you down, right? Look, little point down here, little point down here. These two are almost melded. It's almost like they're Siamese twins connected at the at the hair. Connected at the hair. So, yeah. That's where we go next. Just generally drop down a line and see if there's any pointers anywhere. And immediately then we spot this arrow-like V here pointing us downwards. Yeah, that's clear enough, right? So that's what we do. We continue on. Go down. Follow the line. Drop a line, yeah, because we're falling from height. And who do we encounter? Well, we encounter Spider-Man, who's in motion. So the natural, excuse me, the natural tendency then is to follow along Spider-Man to see where he might take us. And indeed, you can see the lining on his trousers, or his, whatever, his pants, bottom, pointing us in the same direction, just all upwards. So that's all we do. We go with the flow. Until we come up towards his back area. We'd have an option to turn left here, but as you see, it's a dead end, it's a pitfall. So we don't need to do that. As we're making our way, look, this seems to be the only logical place that we can go up along his arm. This is the exit. So this is not, this is too far. We don't want to go there, but lo and behold, we see a hand coming down, pointing us down. Another pointer. That's fine. I couldn't figure this out as well for a bit, but it was very easy then afterwards when you did find out. I think that's thanks to Dave High as well. So the finger's pointing you down. This lady here, Leonardo da Vinci painting, and what it is mentioned in the literature. So all the descriptions that came along with the article is this is a mirror of a work of Leonardo da Vinci. And when you go and look at the work itself, it's not quite a mirror. It's not. It does include a picture, but not quite. There's some pieces missing. This red dot in the middle isn't there as well. But yeah, the important part is she's looking one way. Well, the mirror of the way she's looking is over this way. So we get back to Alice. And we're back on track again. The sand here is interesting. I say the sand is detritus from the destruction of the giant trees. And Leonardo da Vinci came before the sand or the destruction of the giant trees, so he did not exist. And I think this is you can notice the sand is just solely before the painting here. We already know the rest from our theater, but the interesting aspect here is the queen. I take it to mean that the queen here, look, is even though she's a prominent figure, world's wealthiest woman, etc., just in terms of this grander theater, she's not too important or significant. Or maybe that's hinting to her being the hidden power, but she wouldn't be the hidden power because everyone already believes that she has the real power. So I think it's all theater, it's all charades. A4 would tell you it's all on paper. Paper explanator. Paper explanator can explain everything on paper. But when it comes to reality, they're hopeless. And you know that as well. Same with Kara. Kara, another seemingly genuine, clearly intelligent contributor and ball earth antagonist, and clearly playing a role as well. But boy, was she turning you. Boy, was she turning you. But everything is good on paper. You can explain everything with math. But again, when it comes to reality, practicality, it doesn't translate. So we can leave these cards. Anyone who's been on here for a certain amount of time and hasn't, that's who you need to look at now. Think about yourself if you're an honest investigator. You've come so far in terms of your own thinking, right? Ask yourself, who are the characters who haven't changed an iota regarding their thinking, or who have changed but went into La La Land. I might be down for a prize in that one, but not really. I'm not asking you to imagine TARDISes within TARDISes, although everything becomes pertinent, and definitely everything becomes possible on a flat Earth. So I think this is what it's telling us, that this is only wealth in paper, in real terms, no. But as well as that, who does the Queen represent? People, flesh and blood people. Well, no one is standing up to claim to be flesh and blood, and everyone's claiming to be a legal name. This is where I see this as being part and parcel of the puzzle as well. It's all interconnected. It's all about you, again, the individual waking up. So what are you going to do with these pieces of information? That becomes the pressing question. Anyway, just to move through it, Alice in Wonderland, looking straight over here. Any arrows around? Why, sure there is. Loads of arrows here. Look, little arrows. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 arrows we have. That's enough, right? Hallelujah. So we know that there's great significance here. The Cheshire Cat can appear and disappear out of the blue. So the arrows are pointing us across. And here we are at our final destination. Now, how do we know it's our final destination? Well, if we look at Obama's trouser leg, like you might have spotted that randomly and said, well, what? Oh, look at the 3 3s there, but that doesn't mean anything, does it? So what we have here, I'll just show you what's standing out anyway. I was going to say what's sticking out. Is Obama even a bloke? Michelle isn't. That's what you can see clearly there, look. Yeah, same with the other 3. So I take it that this 33 here tells you you've finished. You come to a point of illumination. You already identified 33 as half of 60, not only half of 66, but half of 88 as well. If you get 8 and 8 and you draw a dividing line down the middle of the 2 8s from top to bottom, you have 33, 2 33s, which is pretty significant as well. So yeah, I don't. That's the way I take that. So now you sort of reached the finish line. Now it makes sense of the other clue. And I said about this 3 then in reference to the rugby ball earth, where Mauritius is found. The M, the center point of the M, is pointing downwards towards Mauritius. And look, as we even look at it here, isn't it pointing over towards the ghost here? Not the ghost. That's what it's given as the ghost. Stupid explanation for what that was in the official literature. It's a ghost of some sort. But there you can see that. Yeah, so it's pointing in that direction. So that's what that 3 represents. I take it on the map, and it's showing you the area. It's all easy when you know what you're looking for, right? But it's showing you the area where you need to be concerned. So then you get to this piece of the puzzle. You already knew it was Mauritius and the dodo, just knew it was. It had to be, but as I was saying, how can this ghost be representing the dodo? And I saw the holiday brochure, so Holiday Island. I even saw the doe aspect. You see doe looking down, and that was fine, but I couldn't. What's this ghost about here? I knew Mauritius is a honeymoon island. So Holiday Island, here we have 2 islands. So you could say that was side by side, right? So what is this fucking thing? Well, it becomes very clear, doesn't it, after a bit? It's a condom. Look at the little nipply top here. It's a condom, big smiley happy face. You have two things encoded here. You have 13. But more importantly, you just have a little, this is pretty humorous, isn't it? A little, it's pretty clear as well. Little cock and balls there for your own enjoyment. Let's take that away to show you. You might say that's vague enough there, but that's cool. You can say what you like. So yeah, we have 2 holiday islands, a holiday destination, and a prophylactic, a condom. Condom is involved in lovemaking, right? Where two become one. Well, Mauritius's nearest neighbor is called Reunion Island. So that's perfect. Reunion Island. As we come along, the arrow pointing isn't over yet. As we come along here, that pathway is pointing up this way. But the thumb is also pointing you over to this line. So this line is pointing you somewhere. And you can see that the line doesn't belong. You zoom in a small bit here. There's a better view of there. You can see it there clearly, can't you? It's subtle like, but so here we go. Yeah, so you can see the line, this line here, the black line. Where does that belong? What is that like? Yeah, that's a pointer. And we can see as you follow it up, it's pointing up this way. O and D. Right? Which is cool. Say odd. That's odd. Yeah. Now, where's the dodo? How is there? Because dodo is 2 odds. Well, look down here. You might say it's 12, but you could also say that, you know, this little squiggle below is just part and parcel of the ocean here. Well, if you mirror this, of course you're getting a 2. I don't have to mirror that. So you're getting a 2. And it's pointing up this way. Dodo. So we follow the clues, and the only possible solution is Mauritius and the dodo. That's the upshot of it. That's what I was trying to explain earlier on. And already knew that Mauritius and the dodo was the answer coming into it. But that is a definitive line. That's a definitive line, and there's no denying it, really. This is why I call it 100% solved. That's the solution. Now you can leave that behind. The one thing I do wonder is what the 2018, 2016, 2017 offerings might produce. Will it be something that found already, or will it be something that is yet to be found? Definitely that's just last things to go through, I think. Yeah. And last things to go through just to see. Oh yeah. So on our initial quest, find the treasure map. X marks the spot. Where we followed the hunt, and we got the solution, which is the dodo and Mauritius. Now we wouldn't know as a solution to this puzzle here, but you'd say, well, what the fuck? What has that got to do with the turtle missing the flat Earth? Let's continue on our search. Right. Well, so we already did that. A few other pointers. I pointed this out before as well. Patricia Steele's guitar. She has up on the wall. That's the Beatles' 50th. 50th anniversary of Sgt. Pepper. I saw a few other things actually. that I meant to look at. Look at this monkey face here. Mad monkey. You see that? I just saw that for the first time. A few other things I saw there as well, though. And you have to be aware of sort of like little ghost subliminals. You have to be aware that these things are loaded with subliminals as well. And then when a picture comes to your brain, you won't be so frightened, you know, because you'll be able to understand where it was received from. I remember finding something else now, didn't I? But I never went back to look at it. Here, it was over here, wasn't it? Look at all the little faces. Look at it. Look, you can see them all ingrained, and every single bit of this is purposefully. Oh, there it is. Hang on. Here's the monkey. Do you see it? That's what I see anyway, immediately. Monkey, a sort of a threatening, menacing-looking monkey. There, look, you can see that face there. Look. I thought I saw something. I mustn't. Hang on. It's writing here. Look. But exactly what that says now, who knows? The only thing is as well, we're prone to coming across the answers anywhere. As I just showed you about the curtain here and the window. You know, it's amazing because it's exactly the answer to everything. And everything is reversed as well. We'd imagine that the ultimate answer would be under lock and key. You can see another face here. It's almost like a rabbit, right? See it? So once you're aware of these things, they lose their power. The only strength that any of these subliminals might have is, you know, if you're not aware of them, and suddenly this face pops up in front of you in a dream or just a little vague sense, you know, you don't know where the fuck it came from. You say, what the fuck was that? Something like that. But yeah, that's all I wanted to go through, really. And again, to stress that this is a sort of a pivotal caption here, or a pivotal solution, if you will, because it lets you know that you're dealing with something fucking serious. The time and effort has gone into this. Is that an elephant? It's almost an elephant, isn't it? Let me go over that. Look. See the eye? This is the eye here. This is almost it is a fucking elephant. Look. It's an elephant. Ah! It's a fucking elephant. Get the fuck. It's an elephant. Let me take that off. I can see it anyway. Look at it. It's an elephant with this dot here as a reflection of it as the eye. That's cool. You can see the trunk coming around here. Even the line, you can see those lines on the trunk as you'd see in nature. It's an elephant. And wow, that would make perfect sense, wouldn't it? That would make perfect sense. Because the Earth, the flat Earth, sits on the back of the elephant, sits on the back, stands on the back of the turtle. Brilliant. You can even see it actually in reverse, can't you? You could almost see it in reverse. Does it even work better in reverse? With this sort of outline being the elephants. See it here? I think it works either way, but I can definitely see, you can see the trunk here, look. That's brilliant now. Well, I mean, when I say brilliant, we knew, yeah, more confirmation. And that's all it's been for the last while. For me anyway, I haven't had to sort of go back on anything, you know what I'm saying? And I want to be the first to go back on something if needs be. I definitely do. We talked about a 9/11 reference of the turtle here. Also at Alice, you can see the olive branch, and it's also mirrored down here. Well, if you look at the One World Trade Center now, just in New York, it features upside down triangles in unison. So that's the representation here. But just as we saw Patricia Steer's guitar, the other side, Mark Sargent's microphone, right? You can say, well, come on, it looks like it, but what are the chances of that? Well, listen, this is how big this stuff is like. And if you don't think people, potentially anyway, could have been born and bred for the role, or bred for it from early doors as well. I don't know what to say to you, man. Here's our one ball again. Here's our repaired barrier, which is what we're all about. Hitler one ball, born in 420. So all working towards the same greater goal. And we're in the end times now. Greenland. You can see Greenland here. This looks like Norway. Lovely. Another clue we've come to find. Well, that's the ultimate solution. We're off to a place in Greenland. And then you can, I don't know what you can do. I'm pretty sure, though, once you get this far, that it'll be plain sailing to actually go there itself. You have a particular destination. It's just a matter of going there. You know? I don't think anyone can stop you as well. Because we know about the legal name. Already declared myself King of Ireland on behalf of the Irish flesh and blood men, women, and children born in this land, and people earthwide as well. And I think everyone should do that, because who else is standing up to claim this? This is not for the purposes of greed or anything like that. This is the purposes of truth. So no one can stop us, I think. So once the final solution makes itself clear, it will be beautiful in simplicity, and it will be undeniable to me anyway. It will just be met at all sides, and it will glow in its own truth. Phoenix comes to mind. Phoenix is in my mind. And kittens and cats. That's what I said about Alice Alice Through the Looking Glass. Chapter 11 is going to be important. Wow. It's the most important one. Chapter 11, we woke up. And the shortest chapter in the book. A few other questions were pending. One was, not too many actually. And this, again, this ties in with, what the hell was this? What's going on here? With such a sharp and a fine point. Well, supersonic car. It's all about the sonics, isn't it? Masonic. And that's what I see. I see some sort of sonic construction, which will just extend the barrier, or sort of repair the barrier, hold back the waters beyond, in a sort of an update. And I say updated from the giant trees, but you know, in a sort of a modern context anyway. And I think all of these companies along here are maybe, and it's not. We all know about castrol oil. Oil. I say oil is again. It's the rotting, the remains of the giant trees. You know, oil and gas. This is what we're getting here with the crystalline detritus transformed into oil and gas, etc., over very short periods of time, but just under sort of different conditions of temperature and pressure. So that's what I see the point is as well. We have a spire here in Dublin, and I'm sure lots of other capital cities have the same sort of thing. So I view them as being sort of transmission points, and these will hold back the waters beyond then, or whatever they have in store for us. So all these companies, universities involved as well, they're all dealing with this behind the scenes. Yeah, that's sort of the only puzzle. But supersonic is the key as well. Supersonic. Zzz, zzz. That's the key. Your teeth. H, and that's beautiful, isn't it? When you say it backwards, H, teeth. So you go to the teeth to get your essential nourishment. H, yeah, H is the infinity. So on our journey back towards God. Yeah. So I just thought I'd go over that. I didn't intend to do any hangout, but I just felt like going over that anyway. And as far as I'm concerned, that's left behind. But I've just outlaid a coherent passageway through it. It's clear that it is a hidden sort of secret, an encoded secret, or encoded puzzle. And this puzzle, when solved, takes us on somewhere else. And that somewhere else is to the dodo and Mauritius, and then beyond. That will then take us back to 2 months ago when we started off first, or whenever that was. When both myself and Del had the same idea at the same moment regarding the dodo, and that it was significant in some sense as we were doing an outline, a tracing of the Gleason's map and the land areas, doing a bit of filling in as well. So yeah, that's about it. Let me take a break for a couple of minutes, and I will I'll go back into chat. Hope that things are going okay, but Jesus Christ, even at this stage, I don't know what's the point in hoping for anything in that sense. So yeah, give me a couple of minutes and back. Sailing away from my own true love. I'm sailing away in the morning. Is there something I can send you from across the sea? From the place where I'll be landing. No, there's nothing you can send me, my own true love. There's nothing I'm wishing to be owning. Just carry yourself back to me unspoiled. From the place where you're going. But I just thought you might want something fine. Made of silver, made of golden. Either from the mountains of Madrid or the coast of Barcelona. If I had the stars from the darkest night and the diamonds from the deepest blue ocean, I'd forsake them all for your sweet kiss. But that's all I'm wishing to be honored. But I just thought you might want something fine, made of silver, made of golden, either from the mountains of Madrid, to make your time more easy passing. How can you ask me again? It is a romance, and sure your heart is not with me. With a place where you'll be landing. But I got a letter on a lonesome day. It was from your ship that was sailing, saying I don't know when I'll be coming back again. It depends on how I'm feeling. If you, my love, don't swing that way, I'm sure your mind is roaming. I'm sure your heart is not with me. With the country, the way you're going. Take heed of the western wind. Take heed of the stormy weather. And yes, there's something you can send back to me. Spanish boots of Spanish leather. And yes, there is something you can send back to me. Spanish boots of Spanish leather. I missed out a few verses there, sorry about that. Spanish boots of Spanish leather. Yeah, that's the end of that. And I think we can put that to bed. I'm going to chat now just to see if there's any questions or any chat aimed at me. I doubt it somehow, but yes, how you doing, Del? Chris, how you doing? Yeah, sorry about that. I'm just keeping that down. I just threw that one in there. What was I going to say? Yeah, The Economist cover is finished now. Let me just, I think I brought this up before as well. This is a big one. You're in chat. I don't know if you had a chance to listen to Spaceman and Snack to the Future, but for me, that's as sure can be. I listened to it for a good while, and yeah, what can you say after that? I mean, if that is hoi polloi, and I'm pretty sure it is, it just confirms everything we've been thinking anyway. But it also shows you that there is a great game going on here. No one in the world will make me think that hoi polloi or Simon Jack are evil and twisted and working against their fellow man. I refuse to believe that. You know what I mean? But yet, all the evidence seems to be stacking up in a certain way. Now, let me just share my screen. And this is just the illusion we have to sort of come out from under, and we have to go with it, no matter how hard it might be. I still say we have to go with it. If you look at the colors of the hidden hand here. Patricia Steer came on her show with another puzzle. One hand was sleeveless, one hand wasn't. Mystery written across the top. The hidden hand. But the colors were exactly these colors. And those colors are exactly the same as some other colors, Del, as we know. And there you go. Good old September clues and clues forum, which solved 9/11, and not just that as well. Look at the places Clues Forum took us on to Dell. Some fantastic research there by everyone involved, not just Simon Hoy, everyone involved. And yeah, that's the way it was set up and designed from the get-go. And if you remember the story about Simon, it was loaded with these different peculiarities, and from his brother working with Bin Laden in terms of sponsorship for racing cars, or to his brother's invention of, I don't know what it was, some sort of movie camera technology that allowed you to insert live imagery into pre-recorded stuff, which again, it's just telling its own story, isn't it? All the clues were there for us. And you were saying about Mark Sargent never having heard of September Clues, thinking now that September Clues were all about prequel to Mark Sargent's Flat Earth Clues, because of course Flat Earth is what it's all about. And Simon himself, I wouldn't be surprised at all, Del, if he was Sensi. Remember the guy in Rome who was organising flat Earth discussions, debates. So I wouldn't be surprised at all, considering that Hoy and Snack to the Future. You mightn't believe it yourself, but yeah, I don't think I can sort of unknow it now at this stage. And in a way, I think it's there for us to know as well, and it makes sense. It makes sense. But the colors, look at the colors. And September Clues came out 2007, Del. So 2007 to 2018 is 11 years. And of course, that's what it's all about, 9 to 11. Went through the chapter. I'm just going to go through it again, actually. Yeah, I don't need this anymore. There's perfect match. No doubt about it. Look. So that was chosen way back when. So this is all part of the script that's playing out. So we can't get emotional. We can't even get shocked at anything at this stage. So yeah, I hope everything's going okay in the chat. I was going to just bring up something, I'm sure. Wasn't I? That's all the links I have now. Oh yeah, I know what I was going to bring up. Just because it's so important again. And ISIS find that they were rowing down the river. ISIS, after I was saying about it's all about zzz, Del. It's all about zzz. So get yourself making that sort of sound and see how you feel after it. Utter simplicity, right? Utter simplicity. But it's within that simplicity that you find the genius of it all. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I just want to show you this for a second, because the very start of Look Through the Looking Glass. Sure, that's coming up there. Yeah, that's fine. At the very start of Through the Looking Glass, here we have the black kitten with the ball of twine in a mess. Now, this ball of twine is called a clue, Del, would you believe? A clue, C-L-E-W. And we have the kitten being held responsible for the unraveling of it, the worsted, called it worsted, hey? And it's interesting, I'm going to read this again to myself, but the only reason I wanted to bring this up now was just for chapter 11. I had been saying beforehand, I think I have a good grasp on the riddle as well. I'm close enough to figuring the riddle out. So what I'm going to look up again are chapter 9. I'm not going to read it again. Chapter 9, 10, and 11 are the important ones, Dal. It ends at 11. 10 is very short, very brief. So we're in a very brief time now. We're sort of shaking out of her slumber. So she took her off the table as she spoke and shook her backwards and forwards with all her might. The Red Queen made no resistance whatsoever. Only her face grew very small, and her eyes got large and green and still as Alice went on shaking her. She kept on growing shorter and fatter and softer and rounder, and so that's 10. We're being shaken out of her slumber. And I mentioned coming up to chapter 11 that there's going to be some reveal in chapter 11. I didn't expect it to be this. You know? And it sort of says it all. It says it all perfectly, isn't it? It says it all perfectly. Waking. And it really was a kitten after all. We're in the times of the 11. We're waking up to reality. Of course, you talked about in chapter 12 dreams, and whether this is a dream. Row your boat gently down the stream. That's what I was just going to do. Let me just see who left that message. That's all I wanted to do, just see who left that message. I think it's YouTube now. I wonder if there'll be any clues in the name. It's just a random message that was left. Oh, here we go. Zoo. So I don't know if you can see it here. It just says, Zoo Scott replied, Piche, sharpen your saw in SAW capital letters. So isn't it funny that it's Zoo Scott? So that to me just confirms it then. It's all about the zzz sound and the teeth. So by getting that vibration going within your teeth, you get it going throughout your body. Remember Tesla's earthquake machine? It's that sort of thing. So I see that as another solution, and that's probably maybe even the biggest one yet. The zzz sound. It depends on what the meaning of is. Zzz, Oz. Like I've said it for ever so long now that everything has a sort of a practical connection to it, a connotation to it. There's nothing too mystical or airy-fairy. The 666 represents the sun, the movements of the spiraling movements of the sun, 3 separate movements. You know, all of this sort of stuff. The devil horns represents, you know, the division. As below, so as above, so below, that sort of thing. You know, so everything has a practical sort of application. all knowledge in one sense. So this, yeah, z sound, this so sound. Oh, no, sorry, so yeah, it's interesting that word. So that's by Zoo Scott. The two S sounds that are we're focusing on, or I deem to be the solution to it, via the dent, artodented teeth, and that's where Radiohead comes in. Then you literally have we're literally a broadcasting center and a reception center as well. If we can only tune ourselves in, and that's where the Z sound comes in. I'm definitely going to be practicing that, seeing what happens, and yeah, it's a biggie. So just go back. Here we have highlighted was, which is saw backwards. So jaws, yeah, I mentioned that earlier on. Jaws, teeth. It is all about the teeth. Art or dent, yeah. So Tesla's right. It's all about frequency and vibration, and as within, so without. So chapter 11. Here we come. 2018. 2 + 1 + 8 is 11. It's 17 years since 2001. Space Oddity, Space Oddo C, Space Dodo C. 17 years. 1 7 is 8. It just keeps connecting, and that's. I did say it before as well, that what I was expecting for the most part was just all the different little pieces coming together and just confirming that we're on the right track. And I'm absolutely sure that at teeth and Z realization will help in terms of just the last little piece of the puzzle to be discerned, discovered, undiscovered. Yeah, okay, that's all I wanted to say there. So I knew 11 would be significance, and the significant is simplicity as well. But it's very minimal, very straight to the point, connecting back to the start as well, with the black kitten and the clues. Any other significance in the kitten? I was thinking about Felix Dell. Felix has had a lot of clues, I think. Felix Siam. Felix, a famous cat, of course. But also with Felix, I was thinking, if you're out there listening, just in terms of Phoenix. And yeah, Phoenix is another thing that's sort of in my brain as well. So we wonder how that plays a role as we move forward. Yeah, that's about it. I didn't intend to come on tonight. I just said, fuck it. I was trying to say something about the 2016 Economist cover. I didn't get 15. I didn't get a chance to say it, so I said I'd come on here and say it because it could do with repeating anyway. You know, maybe I might have taken it half seriously before. Take it a little bit more seriously than that now. And in my honest and true opinion, if you're at Flat Earth and you're serious about all of this, you have to make your way towards the Dodo Mauritius and beyond. And it's about all of us. This is all of our story, and it's something that we all can understand. That's the way I look upon it. And we all have to do our own understanding, of course. At this stage in the game, you can't be told the truth. You just can't be. Plenty of people just don't care about it, and I think that's fine as well. I think it works out fine for everyone in the end. But in the meantime, we have this so-called reality to maneuver and make our way through. Yeah, so that's about it. Let me go into the chat, see if there's any questions. How do things go tonight in the chat, Del? I don't think there's many in. Yeah, that's fine, isn't it? Well, I'm just looking. There's 11 watch and says 3 thumbs up, 3 thumbs down. So 3 is the magic number, but that's perfect. Yeah. So Dal, you're just commenting on Simon Shack. Yeah, I'm absolutely sure of it. I'm absolutely not absolutely sure of it, but if Hoyas, I didn't see a response there to. You want to go in for a chat, Dal, if you want, but it's a bit late. As I look at the clock, it's 0042. It's a bit late. I went at the beginning of this chat. Okay. Are you talking about something in particular, Dal? I didn't go back to the start of the chat. I just say hello to everyone just en masse anyway. How are you doing? And thank you for tuning in. It was just an impromptu little hangout. Lottie says, what the fuck is going on? Well, go figure. Go figure. I'll just say at this stage, though, it's a tough one. It's a tough one to sort of negotiate. I think more and more people are going to just sort of try to hold you back and distract you from a certain path. So you have to sort of wake up and distance yourself somewhat from everything. But you have to be aware of the arena you're in. You have to. But again, everyone's at different points. Everyone's at different stages. Yeah, Del, don't panic. That's going back a good bit. Don't panic. I pointed that out. Don't panic was the one that they had a variant. So it just said panic on the cover. But I took it that the fishes, the two Babel fish as well. Yeah, they're all referencing the same thing. And I wasn't sure whether the Hitchhiker's Guide was part of the Hidden Hand, but now I see that it was clearly. From Douglas Adams' Fake Death to even The Salmon of Doubt. That book, I think you had that as well, Del. That'll be probably loaded with clues as well, considering that he didn't die, and this is just writing him out of the script. So definitely, I think I have that somewhere. Let me just check. But I've got 4 books left, I think, of all the books I had. No, I don't have that now, but maybe that'll be one to have a look at again. I'm sure it'll be online somewhere, maybe an audiobook or something. For sure, yeah, it's all part of the Hidden Hand. Even Hitchhiker Del, HH. Isn't that funny, right? And just like I pointed out, I can't get over that, just in my own room. On the curtains all along was the answer, 88, and on the window X. That's funny shit. Funny shit right there. I'm feeling that we're going to laugh our arses off when we get to the bottom of all of this. So yeah, I'm not going to go back to the chat, the top chat. So yeah, unless anyone else has anything. Yeah, Del, there's another thing. Thanks for mentioning that, man. Yeah, the burnt thumb, and I was just thinking about the thumb backwards is behemoth, as in behemoth. And I was thinking of the thumb in terms of Alice in the Thimble, but excellent with the salmon of knowledge. Thumb and the salmon of knowledge. So what is the thumb? Just make a note of that. I was thinking about the thumb because you remember Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy with the big thumb, the big hitchhiking thumb. Thumb backwards, yeah, is behemoth, as behemoth. And Alice, yeah, also got a thimble back to put over the thumb. Sucking fuck. Excellent, Del. Excellent. Brilliant, man. Of course it is. So the top, yeah. That's what it could be now, ultimately. It takes us home, like, isn't it? Yeah, of course, baby, for soothing, sucks his thumb. I'd suck my own thumb. until I was maybe 16, I think. That's a bit dodo. Dad is on a dodo roll. Excellent, man. Do you want to come in for a few minutes, Dad, or is it too late for you? We should definitely arrange just trying to hang out and just myself and yourself have a chat or something. I generally don't come on with anything prepared, like, so just maybe a couple of points written down, go back to them. And that's fine by me at this stage, but that's excellent with the sucking of the thumb, something I did myself, yeah. But there's more to it than that, I think, Dal, even though it might point back at one of the pointers that point back at the dodo, but I think there's more to it as well, just with Alice getting the thimble. But that could be very well it as well. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, so it's all tying together. I don't know. Sure, let me add you, Del, and you can come in. You can come in whenever you want. I just get that link on. Anyone else wants to come in for a little chat or whatever? Just say the word. Okay. There you go, buddy. Just put that in the Google Hangout. Yeah, that's excellent. So a little bit more thought just regarding the thumb, and we're missing something. It could be the dodo, Dal. It really, you know, but generally these things will always have two different sort of representations. But I think there's more to come from the thumb as well. But delighted with the Z thing. I think that's a major disclosure. That's a major key in this. I always knew it was about frequency and vibration. Yeah. So if you can set up that feeling within your body to get it to vibrate, using your teeth as a sort of connecting point. So by the joining of your teeth, you're setting up this vibration that goes around not just your skeleton, but all of the fluids within as well. And I can't think of that. I'm gonna get that up now.
How are you, Pete?
Dale, how you doing, man?
How's it going,
Not too bad, not too bad. Long time no see, man.
Yeah, man. I've been watching your output, man. You know, I've been following it.
Good
You know, I haven't
stuff.
been able to do it live all the time, but I've been around. Yeah.
Nice. I was trying to think of the Tibetan vibration bowls. You remember those?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking about. So, yeah, thanks for coming on, Dal.
No, thanks for having me, man. Yeah, fucking hell. I caught you with the spaceman last night. I caught that, right? And but he's taken that down as well now since.
Let's see.
But I managed to grab the video and the audio before he did. So there's a record of it. You went through it last night pretty, you know, in between all the interruptions, you know.
Right. Well, I suppose I was trying to do it again tonight, but that's the only reason I came on. Just to show as well, yeah, there is a direct line through it. And for me, it's undeniable, Del. I'm not sure how you feel about it, really, but...
Man, I listened. You know me, man. I'll fucking listen and take it all in and pull it over. Like there tonight, I just think about stuff and just free associate with it.
Yeah.
And fucking, you know, there's a lot of it that just... It's almost joining the dot, you know? It's cool. Launch anyway. I'm having a drop of my own.
Lovely, Dal. Your own mead. That looks like some mead to me, isn't it?
It's actually no. It's stuff I made out of Burgundy. The Burgundy grape. Remember
Lovely,
grape juice. And oh, it's lovely, you know. It's,
Lovely job. We'll give the Irish a bad name, Del, for drinking. What do you reckon?
oh well, you see, the thing is, man, it's
You're
like we're
damned if
drinking
you
on-
do, and you're damned if you do, don't.
you don't, you're damned if you do. But look, doesn't matter, man. Grant, you can have a drink, you can have a fucking smoke, and feck to be grudgers. That's what I say.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to be crucified. Anything that these guys can bring up against you, like Mark Taylor especially, will bring it up against you and try to sort of make you feel bad about it. But it's all an acting role, Del. That's the way I see it now. Like, you know, and you just gotta not get emotionally involved and probably steer clear for the most part at this stage. I don't know. What do you think?
Ah, sure. Man, I just watch it all. Well, I don't watch as much as I used to, man. A lot of them, like I was saying before, a lot of them, you know, just sort of I lose interest in it, you know.
Mm.
You get the bits and pieces, like, you know, like with the fucking whole Mark Sargent thing. I've said from the beginning with the September Clues, never hearing of September Clues. I fucking brought that up way back when, like, Ab was the first guy to call him. Do you remember when he put out the September or the fucking Clues? And he
How
put,
funny is that?
yeah, and you see, and then Ab was the first one to ring him, and the first one to get him on. And do you remember then he was trying to get, he got a round table together, in fact, and he invited me on that. I managed to ask him a question at that time, but I wasn't thinking particularly about the September Clues thing. Sort of dawned on me, right? But I do remember just asking him about something about, or telling him about, basically, he's talking about movies all the time. I said it started way before that, like with fucking the TV and all that kind of stuff, you know, Lost in Space and all that in the 50s.
But now, Del, it seems to me that with Tim and Ab's mysterious, he's still, I don't think he's been on camera or all that, you know, so he has, is this all interconnected? Like, is this all planned out this way?
I don't know. There is one sighting of Ab out there on one of his videos. You know, one of his other channels is Tim's channel where he does the driving and all that.
Yeah.
And some car flipped over in front of him or whatever, and he got out of his van. He pulled over and stopped and got out of his van, and you can see him going across in front of the thing. So he is there. If anyone really wanted to see him, he's there, you know. So,
and I guess he didn't have to put up that, so he's not that protective, uber protective of his.
Yeah. Well, I actually said it to him, you know, and he just kind of laughed, you know, laughed it off. It's there, you know.
Yeah.
Not like, I don't know, I'm not here to speak for Ab, you know.
Just the fact now, again, I'm looking at it now from a reverse situation. Del, Flat Earth is bigger than 9/11 because Flat Earth encompasses 9/11, and I think they all sort of fit in nicely to this bigger picture that we're sort of unraveling here. So to think that they might have all been set up that way, you have to wonder, don't you?
Can't you tell all the way back that there's certain things within the structure of Flat Earth on YouTube, anyway, certain things like 9/11, some of them are still on the official story.
Yeah.
Out and out, you know, like that'll just show someone to be that they didn't even bother researching, or they just reject it offhand and they just go with the official story. And then generally they're the ones that are the anti-Flat Earth baller, hardcore ballers, whatever. But then you see that it spills over into the so-called Flat Earth people. You've got the ones that, people had to die on 9/11. You know what I mean? So they're still stuck in the Alex Jones version of the official Alex Jones story type thing. You know? An inside job, but still people died, and you're all doomed and be afraid. You know, panic basically, like the fucking, you know, don't panic. 420, Hitchhiker's Guide.
And I mean, someone like people in our position, which isn't too difficult a position to attain in terms of realization. I mean, if you go into 9/11 now and you look into it from the end first, like, you know what I mean, you look into the possibility of fakery, media fakery, then you'll see it proven in spades everywhere. You know what I mean? It's a lot easier now to go to YouTube and get appropriate videos that will set you straight in a short time. But yeah, that gives the game away straight away, Del, to anyone who's even in flat Earth. I mean, if you come along, right, and you come into flat Earth, you looked a bit into 9/11 conspiracy, but not too much. If someone came along and told you the possibility of no planes or something, I know just you like me, like any honest person today, you go, get the fuck away out of that. I mean, I'll definitely have to look into that, just the possibility of it. You know what I mean? But these people are not taken. These are just, they're sticking to the mainstream story, or they're writing off conspiracy out of hand, and it's out of character. You know what I mean? You're obviously clearly talking to intelligent people somewhat, who claim to have had a pathway through conspiracy. So their answer is a big discrepancy, and that's what else can you call it? Some people then, but actors, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but even listening to you last night, right? I'm hearing an echo.
Okay.
1, 2, 1, 2. ZZ Top. Oh man, the ZZ. That's what I was writing in the chat earlier on. It disappeared up along. You know the way it's gone then.
I know, I miss that.
It was, yeah, she's got legs and she knows how to use them. Right? And listen, you brought up a brilliant one, right? Fucking, right? There's an old piano playing hard behind the green door, right?
Shakin' Stevens.
Shakin' Stevens, right? If you think about it, right? The two songs, his two so-called famous ones, was Behind the Green Door, This Old House.
This old house is made of...
Yeah, it's made of timber, wasn't it? This old house is made of timber.
Right.
A rotten timber or something like that. It was falling around. It was like a ramshackled, ramshackled vagina.
That's a new term, that, isn't it?
To tie into your other thread there, yeah. I thought that was funny too.
Jesus, I mean, yeah, you never. How would you ever, in any fucking infinite number of universes, ever imagine yourself using that term? But again, it was put before us, wasn't it? With Antonio coming along, giving us the lowdown.
It was put in front of us. It was given out there. It's like, you know what I mean. It's yeah.
It is, yeah.
Can't be unseen or unheard. You know.
No, and we have to laugh at this. Like, you know, even if I'm offending somebody, if you still ask me, do I think Patricia Shearer is male, female, whatever way you want, I think yes. I don't have any much doubt in it anyway. But we just don't know what the greater story is here as well, you know. So we have to reserve judgment someone. I always do say that, I don't judge anyone, but if I'm dealing with somebody who I know is acting some sort of a part, well, I think the onus is on me to call them out, really, because I know I'm not, you know. So I do that in real life, so I don't see why I shouldn't do it here. But yeah, all these topics are fed to us, and that brings. I was thinking about Kate of Gaia again, Del, in the new light, so that she being part, she being part and parcel of all of this again in a grander sense. You know,
we'll always go down in the annals of the internet or YouTube as the free man that the judge bowed to, because that was like claim to fame. Yeah.
Well, of course, that's after that episode. Kate was arrested and put into solitary confinement, according to
had everything stolen from her, according to But then at the same time, we're into transgenderism because it was she was an openly male turning into a woman, basically, or not turning into a woman, but being transgender,
coming out,
and so that was even more of a fucking kind of a freak out for people to deal with. It's not bad enough you just come off an Alex Jones rush.
No,
and you're finding out about all this Freeman stuff. Then you're finding out all the extra stuff, and then you got someone like Kay of Gaia who appears, and then they're doing, you know, it's like paving the way for the transgender within the truth community, man. That was another
transgender within us all, Del, maybe.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but
well, I mean,
I know your trip is it's, you know, 1 and 1. It's half and half is 1.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, I'd be sort of used to always just say that, you know, 1 and 1 is 3. The one man, one woman makes one other child, so that's 3. But I see where you're coming from too, Pete. You know, it's like,
I mean, I've said it a good few times, but I've said it to Jamie especially, Del. I mean, what is real anymore? You know, this is and is even Israel as well. You know what I mean? The very fact that they call it Israel, they're sort of pushing too hard to try to get you to think that something is real when there's no reality to it at all. But what is real? You know, where are we coming from? What's our true natures? I think they're all pertinent questions, and they're being dealt with. I think this is where the transgender stuff comes into it. I really do. You know?
Yeah. Well, you see, man, they made it a lot more complicated when you think about it with the internet. What we're using as the biggest telephone on the plane, I call it. But what they've also done is swamped us with so much information to the point where you have to go and look at a fucking cover of a bloody magazine that they're putting the shit in there. You know what I mean? We've been swamped with so much. Try to fucking think of a time when we didn't have it. I remember before the internet, I remember, you know, you could read a book or to be TV, of course, but even can remember a time you can turn the TV off and you can just sit there, or you could be outside going for a walk or whatever. Things are so much more easier to process. Then we're bombarded with all this shit, man, right? Plus, at the same time, in sort of real life, real time, we're dealing with what we're experiencing from all this information, and then the information then we're trying to make sense out of it. That's pretty much my take on it, and we're all doing that, and that's our journey, you know. So
yeah, it is. And I only made a similar point earlier on. Remember, first of all, when Flat Earth came to the fore, you had 1 or 2 maps to choose from, the Gleason's map being a big one. Look, now there's 101 different Flat Earth potential maps to choose from. They're just flooded it with options, so you don't know which way to turn in one big sense, like, you know what I mean? But in another sense, certainly the way I look at it now, Del, I just showed earlier on 8/8 on the curtains and X on the window. I mean, it doesn't matter whether anyone believes me or not, or whether anyone goes along with it or not, or me myself to see this. It's crazy, like, you know. And I did say that I think that that's what the ultimate solution is going to be. It's going to be so beautiful in its simplicity, and it'll be hidden. The answer is hidden in plain sight. And I think is that the ultimate answer, Del? But what I was saying about the teeth, the zzz, the bee, the bumblebee, the zzz, I think that could be close to it.
And listen, the brain, and the God inside the brain touches the finger of man, and the 2 fingers touch, and it's
right.
Whoever jump, and listen, they put a fucking buzzer. You remember them? The buzzer ring, and you shake someone's hand, and
right.
It's long. It's an ongoing thread. You know, people. You know, you can say people think you're mad, or people would say that I'm mad for saying this. Think about it. We've been given all this imagery, this terminology, and it's fucking, when it starts to make bloody sense when you start putting it together, right? And that is the thing, the question. It's like life, the universe, and everything. That was the fucking question. What was the answer to life, the universe, and everything? And then it was and then the question was wrong. Do you remember? It was, we want to know the answer, but the question was wrong.
We've been asking the wrong questions.
Yes, that's what my thinking is on it.
Excellent, Del. Do you remember kidney stones, the likes of kidney stones or stuff like that? Before, you used to have to get an operation, take them out, or pee them out or something in a very painful manner. What do you do now, Del?
Didn't they develop a thing where they put you in a bath of water, and they put a vibration frequency through it? And
right. So Del, what if your all or pineal glands were calcified, right? But by doing this sound just on a continual basis with real intent, you vibrate it so much that it cracks. It cracks. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, hopefully the outside of it cracks, the calcified bit, and then
Right, right.
It's a new sprout of growth. I know this sounds ridiculous, but
No. It doesn't, man. I've been wondering, just because everything else is flipped. I mean, should our pineal glands be solid and calcified in the first place? Not calcified, but of a solid sort of form, as opposed to a liquid form. But now I'm thinking, thanks to your prompt there, that no, if we vibrate enough,
I,
we can crack that, and that's when it must be a thin thing, so we can send those vibrations through us and do what the sonar bombardment of the gallstone or the kidney stone will achieve. Do that within ourselves, and if you think about it, all that would require is just you lying. The easiest thing ever, isn't it? Just lie down, peaceful and calm, and just zzz, or move.
or even just if you could create it within your head,
I
do
think,
the vibration
yeah,
in your mind, like singing in your head. You know, you come up with a song and you're singing it in your head. Singing, you know, it could be, it mightn't be as sort of basic as going Z or whatever. It could literally be a form of a tune, like a particular wave in your song.
beautiful, Del. I was thinking that myself,
You know what
man.
I mean? Like, I gave us Alice in Wonderland for a fucking reason. There's a multitude of songs. We've been swamped with songs.
Mm.
It's like, get back to the song. What is the song, you know? And I doubt if it's a rock and roll song. You know
Right.
what I mean? But it's some sort of a back to your bowls, your Tibetan vibrating bowls. All that. It's back to the frequency. You
They
know?
say there is a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. But I was thinking about that, Del, and I've said that before to people. And you can do that much easier in your brain. You can go from a low tone to work it all the way up to a high tone and find something that resonates with you within just in a purely ethereal way in terms of a mental thought. But I'm thinking the actual physical setting up of that vibration via the teeth is an integral part to playing it as well. It's sort of a symbiosis
The
between.
attack on our teeth all the time. The attack on our teeth with fluoride and all that. So, it's attacking our brains. You're fucking attacking your teeth too. Fluoridosis, man.
Now, Del, perfect, isn't it? So if they wanted to stop us from
Attack your fucking everything, but get your teeth from an
now,
early age.
and then fillings maybe coming along as well, limiting that. But that's the way I see it now. And anyone who's listening, I think we should all try it, just in your own time.
Giving someone a filling is like fucking rubbing shite on the guitar strings. It's
Right.
dampening the whole resonance of your being, and that your tooth is part of your fucking body. It's part of you, you know.
Excellent, Del. Excellent. It's making more and more sense.
Yeah.
So,
By the way, while I'm on a roll, Pete, because I'm thinking of this stuff, and I have to tell you, just while you remember it, although it's been recorded, which is grand. Jimmy Durante, right? You know, that's the guy with the piano, right? Snozzles Durante.
I've heard the name, Del, yeah.
He had the song "The Lost Chord." You're looking for the lost chord. We're missing whatever the chord is. The song, a chord is a collection of notes.
Of course it is.
Vibrating. So that's another one. Just
nice one, Del. And I had that in mind before. I've often wondered, have I ever come up with a chord that no one has played before? I've certainly played chords myself that I didn't learn from anybody, and they just sounded a certain way. I might have noted them somewhere, but just in terms of the individual notes, But yeah, it's the last chord, a secret frequency.
Yeah.
If as you're doing your humming or your zzz, you could experiment within yourself to see what type of feeling it sets up. I can already feel that at the back of my head, So I think this is ultimately, and when I looked at Alice in Wonderland tonight, after saying it was about the Z, it depends on what the meaning of is. Alice in Wonderland was come up with 3 years after the Dodgson and Duckworth sailed down the Isis, or is,
And Duckworth.
Yeah.
That's fucking Duckworth's, and Isn't there someone else? The famous Duckworths. It's the
As in Coronation Street.
And then you have fucking the three ducks
I remember that.
in a line. They made sure to show that every time. You had to see the three fucking ducks in formation, and they're going up as well. They're obviously.
I remember it well. I remember it well, and that's the way. Just like I pointed out, Del. I was in Limerick. You might have heard that. I was in Limerick. Statue of Richard Harris in King Arthur. All the answers are there. So we have King Arthur with the sword. The X is all over it. I showed the picture here. X is all over it. But then the belt of 8. If I said it earlier on, if I was to sum up the answer as far as I think it is, in the simplest terms as possible, I would say 88 X 420. And King Richard Harris had that on the statue. He had 2 out of 3 anyway. And what's that song again? 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
2 out of 3 ain't bad, yeah.
But I think
the other thing, the green fields of France, you played tonight, man.
Right.
And you said it was actually World War One, the Great War. The Great War. You see, they call it the war that end all wars.
Right.
It was only the beginning, when you think of it, the beginning of the long narrative that we've been, sort of treated to. And
yeah, whatever is going on, Del. I mean, we're aware of all the fakery by nature. I mean, how far have you gone back? What about your own thoughts? I mean,
I'm still on the 1649-ish.
Are you, man?
Like, whatever fucking happened beforehand, well, what we've been told started off then. The story, everything. Like everything is encoded. Like you're looking at the Alice in Wonderland and everything like that. All the other stuff that went back, like the first painting of an elephant, say, can only be traced back to 1649-ish, or I don't have the exact date offhand, but you know what I mean. It all sort of stops there, or starts there, I should say. Kind of like, there's books and reams of books about the Roman Empire and about the fucking Greeks and all that. But yeah, where's the source material?
Right.
Some book and a painting from 15 whatever. You see, this kind of stuff, or 16 whatever.
And it's amazing to consider these possibilities, and we have to note as well that Nico Haupt, he went on it was a different name he went on regarding the authorship of the book, but yeah, he was directly involved with 9/11.
No, but he's Nico Haupt. He's actually, his name is on the books.
All right, okay. I thought he went under a different name.
He was one of the original no planers. That was the thing about him. He was one of the no planers back when everyone, Alex Jones and all them, was 3,000 dead and blah blah blah, and he was pointing out sort of the fakery at the time, and him and Simon Shack as well. See, there's a history with them as well, and that's out there on record on the internet. You can find it, where Simon Shack even called him a fucking some sort of a junkie or something. He didn't like him at all. He had no time for him. So, but at the same time, the guy is still out there. He was writing books. Even he did that conversation with Chris on Hoaxbusters, Chris Kendall, and that's a very interesting conversation, man. It's like 2 hours long, and he was on the end of a phone. He didn't have Skype or anything. And
I remember that was about 3 or 4 years ago, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. And I have that on the blog. It's still posted up there and for people to listen to or download, And
there were some excellent interviews. I would definitely like to hear more of Nico Haupt, and in a better line as well. But fantastical things.
There's a clip from him from public access television back in the day, and he's on a show with someone, and that's the other thing I've seen him on. He's got a YouTube channel, man, and like there's little bits on that, but that's it. He's kind of elusive in a way, in that sense. He's not like Mr. Internet man.
He has to be acting his part. There's just no. I don't think there's any other possibility in my mind anyway at this stage.
I'm still collecting the books here, man.
So
look at this, man. I haven't started reading this yet, but this is what I'm going.
The Crowd.
The Crowd.
What's that from?
a study of the popular mind. But this is the reason why I bought it.
Go on, yeah.
Gustave Le Bon.
Right, right.
All about popular psychology, man. You know, and if you do that in with Bernays' propaganda, you know, I'm just filling myself in on some of the blanks.
Well, I mean, I can't tell you the last time I read a book, Dal. I don't know if I'd be interested in even reading those books. But you're obviously made a reference to John Le Bon there, did you? In one
I
sense,
know, yeah. It was like a little joke there.
Caesar's joke. Okay, yeah. I
Um,
mean, he's another man with some strange positions, isn't he? I mean, there's so many of them now at this stage. You know, who's real anymore, Dal? Who's where can one go to get truth on flat Earth anymore? You know what I
was was there ever a
mean?
time when people could really get truth off the internet? When you think about it, Pete? it
Well,
it's picking and choosing
mm,
and trying to use our own minds to logically excavate stuff. Where at the same time, we always have to remember at the back of the internet, if it was like pretend it was like a little machine, right?
mm,
Right, it would say made by DARPA, and you know, it wasn't made for our benefit. Put it that way, right? We're getting some sort of a benefit out of it, right? But I don't. It wasn't made for our benefit. Put it that way. It was probably made to fucking harvest all our thoughts and stuff.
gosh. Oh well, I think ultimately it was all made for our benefit, Al. That's where I'm at this stage. I
Yeah,
mean,
I know. I know.
we,
We
we
had
said before
it.
though, I mean, if you don't take my position the way I look at it, and that's if I don't take my position right, I I don't think there's any in between ground. It's either going to be very good or very bad. I don't see any other possibility. You know what I mean? Especially for the likes of conspiracy-minded people to live in.
That's
Uh,
Yeah, that's the one other thing, Pete. There's always the good or the bad, Coke or the Pepsi, the dichotomy. You know,
yeah.
there. See, this is the other thing as well, though. Absolutes and everything like that.
Mm.
I don't know. I'd probably go on a rant about it sometime, but it's too late at the moment. But you know,
No, but I know what you're
but
saying. That
I see where you're coming from too, P. And you know,
yeah,
if for nothing else, maybe I might be just the guy on your shoulder that fucking says, "Well, hang on, right? That's there, but this is the other one, or there's
yeah.
this other middle one." You know?
I mean, oh God. I mean, literally literally expecting when this last pieces of the puzzle decodes style, whatever it decode into, it'll be a destination somewhere. I already think we know where the destination is, just based on everything. It's a perfect destination, and it ties everything together. And I think this greater puzzle does tie everything together. So I have been thinking, like, is this a sort of a step off that if you do get to that point, you can take a sort of a trip out and leave the rest. Because again, if this is all a simulation of some sort of a learning ground, then it's up to the individual to follow their path. I don't know. There's many different ways you could look at it. When I meant that it's either going to be very good or very bad, that's the way it's looking, right? It's looking like anyone in a conspiracy-minded frame of mind sees all this tyranny, sees all of this. It's almost like a hopeless case in some sense, isn't it? You can't go. Who can you go to appeal to for support in terms of anything official? You know, you get no satisfaction anywhere you go. You're getting ostracized from your family and friends. You know what I'm trying to talk about?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It has to be. It has to be it has to be either fucking. Yeah, that's just the way I see it anyway. There's no room for any sort of undefensive, no middle ground anymore. It's
Not
just
middle ground. It's more a case of if you're like dealing with the system.
hmm.
It literally is. It's navigation, man. I said this before. They talk about their fucking admiralty and everything else, but each man is his fucking ship as well, and you have to fucking be able to navigate around some of the stuff. You can't fight every battle. They'd knock you down. It's the system against one man in the concept in our minds of the system. We want, thing.
Mm.
I think they've always been telling us, even in stories like, you know, David and Goliath or whatever. You have, you know, the ability. It's just that we've lost the chord. We've lost that fucking chord that
Yeah.
empowers us. I don't know, man. It's like as if everyone already has the power, but we're being fucking held back by something, and we don't know what it is. And like yourself, we're going through fucking the journey, trying to figure out what's going on, and whilst also dealing with a fucking flood of information, all these different ideas and concepts, and also looking at you know, stuff, intangible stuff that we can see in our day-to-day lives, what these fuckers are doing, trickling down on top of it all, you know. And I think that's basically where we are, right, at the moment. And that's the thing, some people, probably the ones we don't know about, are the ones who already figure it out, and they're somewhere, they're somewhere.
Right. They're the ones we don't get to hear about that, right?
Yeah, and we're two guys on YouTube at the moment. You know what I mean? Bump, you know.
The ultimate question is, and I've asked this, I've thrown it out there. I'm asking myself this as well. If the solution turns up to all of this, and I'm absolutely sure, Del, it's right there. I haven't even looked. I know you know the page. Have you seen the page, the last black page with the piece of Mozart music?
Yeah, the seven
Nearby sevens, yeah.
Yes, I have. Actually, the first night you played that, I actually went looking, and there's actually search engines out there where you can upload the music. So what I did was I recorded the music and downloaded it and uploaded it to this thing. And do you know, out of their millions of fucking tracks in their library, they didn't know what it was.
Get away.
I'm serious. It just said, we're sorry, we don't have the answer. And we're back to this lost chord again. There was a fucking lost song there, and it is like a classical piece, and it's familiar. And I don't know, it's not registered on.
I know what it is, though.
Yeah, I know you do. You said it then, right? Yeah. But why is it not coming up on any of the registries?
Because that's the whole point. Yeah. You see, this is what I'm saying, and it just exemplifies the point. We're overthinking it. When I heard Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, it was just a brief section, and it was clear as day that it was, and I don't know if you were there when I said it. I said, I can definitely hear it there. So what I could see happening is within that musical piece, there's 8 or whatever children's musical pieces thrown in together, just unrecognizable. But now that I see discarded the music piece now, because all it is pointing you towards Mozart. When you look up the Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star tune, it corresponds to 2 other tunes, which is the ABC and the 1, 2, 3s, which are back to basics again. When you take Mozart, then we know Mozart. Remember Tim, a fakeologist, did an interview with
the fella that was it, yeah, that said that Mozart was like loads of different people that wrote something. And that's the thing, that's what I was going to say to you. And Amadeus Wolfgang Mozart, that's his full fucking name.
Amadeus.
Yes, it's pretty much near fucking MMD or whatever you want to call it. Right, you've got that, right? But then, right, that's an organization that makes these musics at the time, and you know, you've got all that. But Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, right? The Dog Star, the Dog Days of Summer, which we're in and we're just coming out of now, because the Dog Star is fucking, you can't see it because allegedly the sun is in the way, right? Now, I wanted to tell you about that as well. I don't know, I put it in the chat one of the nights on your hangout. I don't know if you saw it. But
I didn't see that. You know, as you say as well, if you're not looking at the chat, it'll disappear at the top.
No, it's a pity. A way you could just fucking have it there for future reference, because the ideas are there and then they get fucking lost, you know.
I know, man. I know. And look, I guess in one sense, the way I look at it now is if something is meant to come back to you and you miss it the first time, it will come back to you. You know. I definitely have. I definitely have. You're definitely in for top 13 dodoism, Del. You have a few entries in there, which are pretty good, man.
My
Which are,
favorite one is Dodo breaking my heart. That's a Kiki D and fucking Elton John.
So I'm going to make. I think I'll make three categories. Del. One is the primary dodoism, which is old sayings or phrases or idioms or whatever, just including dodoism. Then you have uh, just a word itself, and you incorporate dodo into it. Do domination, for instance, or there's a few others as well. So that's another category, and then the third category is song titles. I was
I've
that's
got
a
one for
great
you.
one.
I've got
Yeah.
one. I just thought of it, and encompasses two of those titles, right? Don't forget your dodo if you want to go to work.
Oh Lord, that's excellent. There, I'm making note of that. There's so many of them, though. There's so many of them.
Christy Moore from Christy Dodo from.
That'd be for the Irish amongst us who would recognise that. They don't. But the one I have one there, Dal, and it has to be the top dodoism. I can't see it being beaten because it just encompasses so much. Like, and I could easily see it on a T-shirt, and a T-shirt selling millions. But look, when the dodo comes out, when the true significance of the dodo comes out, which it always was meant to anyway, um, it will resonate on so many fronts with people. Can you see how that will work? I'm sure you can, Del. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you
There's
know,
so many different aspects. The dodo is mentioned and it's linked and it's in so many different. It's in the popular consciousness and it has to be for a reason.
yeah,
Even when the whole idea of the dodo, right, was sort of manifested, there's no one out there who's never heard of a fucking dodo already.
exactly, exactly.
The point. And what is the dodo? It's extinct, and it's a bird that couldn't fly, and it was stupid. And it was everything that the controllers or whatever you want to call it, the grand plan makers or whatever, they fucking put it in there. And then into popular culture, the popular stories like Alice in Wonderland,
Mm.
they're all laid out there for for you to come along and have a look at, and
Well,
me and everybody else. The point
everybody
is
else, yeah,
already in our popular consciousness. That's what I'm saying. It's like one of those puzzles. Do you know the one tile puzzles where you move the tiles and you have to move
yeah,
up and down and left and right, and it's a Rubik's cube, but it's
right. All the pieces are there. They're just waiting to be sort of put in the right context and arranged properly, and
yes,
then everyone will it'll jump out at you like a sore thumb.
like a sore thumb after you burn it. That's fun. Fionn McCool,
John McCool, yeah, salmon of knowledge.
salmon of knowledge. He burnt his thumb on the salmon, put it straight into his mouth to kind of soothe it, and he
Mm.
discovered that every time he sucked his thumb, he got revelation of fucking what to do, or how to plan. He was like doing battles and all that. He just suck his thumb and he'd know what to do. And yeah, the salmon of knowledge. So there, there's a fish involved in this, man, and that's why you've got the fish hats with the religious, the Pope, and all
Mm.
that kind of stuff. I think there's fish heads involved in this as well, like or fish.
Jesus is the fish. So there's a puzzle at the end of chapter 9 regarding a fish, and I'm thinking it's about Jesus, and I'm thinking the solution might be X marks the spot, because if you see the representation of Jesus, you sometimes see a crucifix
That's right.
inside of it.
And you see the other, you know, the Greek one where they have the slanted crosses. They have the cross and then they have a slant.
Right, I'll have to have a look at that. Yeah.
That's
So,
that can play back to the Z. You can make
mm,
a Z out of that, you know. And
excellent. Just thinking about the Z, Zorro for Z.
Z is also the end. It's the end of the alphabet, but it's also potentially just the penultimate one before A again. You know,
Right.
we're back to the Pac-Man son and all that kind of stuff. I know it sounds, you know, but It's all
Well,
there.
it's the alpha, and the omega.
Alpha and omega, yeah, but omega is not a Z when you think about it. It's the Greek alphabet.
Right, that's true as well, isn't it? That's true as well. Actually, that's true as well. Yeah, but is there what zeta? I suppose is the equivalent of Z. I guess maybe.
Well, there's alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta. I think zeta is after epsilon. So that's A, B, C, D, alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon. The Z sound comes in on E in the English, the English equivalent of the Greek E, epsilon. And then zeta is the next one. That's the sixth letter. Zeta, isn't it zeta?
All terms used in mathematics as well, Del. Alpha, beta, gamma, delta, zeta, epsilon. I think so. Yeah.
Epsilon, and then zeta. Zeta would be the sixth letter. Zeta. I'm only going by.
Let me get it up. Greek alphabet, because I'd be interested in that myself.
Yeah, I'm only going by like Jesus. Did a little bit of Greek when I was in primary school.
Yeah.
Sixth class or whatever.
But now we have to bring into question. You talk about ancient Rome being fake. Is it all fake, Del? Every bit of it?
No, man. You think about it. We're talking in English, right? But the people who constructed Latin, Greek, and all that, they constructed that. That would be no problem from 1649-ish, would you?
Right, exactly. So this is what I say, Del, is the Bible was written initially in English. The rest of the languages then were, everything else was fabricated around.
The Bible is just the same as all the others. Like, get the source right. Yeah, we have a Dead Sea Scrolls. When did they find them? In the 20s or something.
Right. And again, perfect with the Bible. The Bible gave legitimacy to the Middle East, the ancient Middle East. Where if it didn't exist, well then, again, the Bible for me is all about taking attention away from the North Center, which was the epicenter. But
everything has moved away. As far as we're told, northern, you're in Iceland, Greenland, and it's all mellowed out. And it's all everything is happening, sort of on parallels. These so-called parallels, and they don't involve the north. They don't involve so far above the northern part.
Right. So if you look at remember I was saying the Nile flows from east, just on the Dodo, just taking the Dodo line flows from east to west, and England is lying on its side, and Ireland beneath it.
Ireland, yeah.
But I was saying Edinburgh was the real Jerusalem. I wasn't saying it, but I heard that from somewhere else and just sort of thought about it. But what was mentioned at the time was Norway could be read as Northway, which is fair enough, excellent. Sweden is southwest of Eden, Finland, Endland, Edenland. But Edinburgh, I had mentioned Edinburgh. It makes much more sense now if they're laying on their side like that. That would be the nearest point to the North Centre, or in that direction on the England mainland, the New York Scottish mainland. But
well, man, if you think about Edinburgh, right? I was there. Have you ever been up to Edinburgh?
No, I was close to it, but I was never there.
I was there, and like literally, I was driving a hired car at the time, and finding park and all that kind of stuff. But man, you get out and you look at the fucking right. It is a bloody rock, right? Slap bang in the middle, right? Well, obviously it's all built around it, I assume. But yeah, it is literally one of these fucking places. You just when you look at it, right, you go, wow, that's fucking weird. So I don't know, man, what to make of it, but there's definitely something about that place, right?
So Del, just why you mentioned that
imposing fucking rock with the castle on the top.
So sword from the stone. I mentioned about King. What I was going to say about it makes more sense for Arthur's seat then to be facing north, and Arthur, Round Table, Holy Grail, and all that sort of stuff. But break up the word Edinburgh, Del. What do you get?
Eden.
What else?
And it's a borough.
Or like a burrow, like a rabbit?
A borough like a fucking area of a city or whatever, a borough, Edinburgh. Now,
Or
phonetically, I know
right,
I'm telling you, mate.
Eden Borough as well.
It's a borough of Eden because it's in the north. It's
Right, right,
fucking
yeah. This is how I see it all connecting. Some I mentioned it the other day as well. I don't know who. I think the Highwayman said it. What do you get if you get Neil Armstrong backwards? If you put Neil Armstrong backwards, or spell it backwards,
go
did you
on.
see that one? You get good go north or G North, GNORT, S Mr MR Alien. Go north, Mr Alien. Perfect, like because we're aliens outside here. This is not our true home, sort of thing. But
Yeah, were we all left in fucking outside people's doorsteps, collectively, metaphorically, in somewhere that we shouldn't be? And we're trying to get back.
well, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on, but I think we're coming to the end of it. Let me share the screen to show you the Greek letters. I'm sure something will occur here.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
can
we
you see?
also have to remember we have to do it in phonetically as well as they sound because the resonance, the
Right, right.
vibration.
Nice one, Del. And it is all about sound vibration at
It
this stage.
really is because I remember rattling off learning them off by rote. You remember we had to learn stuff. I had to learn like stuff like the periodic table and Greek alphabet and
Mm.
fucking stupid stuff at the time. As you think, but it's probably the most important stuff that we should have been learning at the time and,
Well,
and keeping it in the mind. So,
we
right,
keep.
alpha, beta. Can you
Yeah,
make that a bit bigger, P, if you don't mind?
sure.
A bit Specsavered at the moment, even with my glasses on.
And these are all
That's great.
fraternity in American terms anyway, and more creeping into Irish education. Hang on, where am I at? Oh, Jesus, I'm turning way down. 1 second now.
It's gone smaller again. It was
Hang on. Let me just. Oh,
good.
look at that bucket. I know. 1 sec. I think because I have a few things open, it's reducing down.
Well, that's the thing,
Let me just bring it up.
keep as little open as possible when you're broadcasting. That's just me.
Yeah.
By the way, have you had any word back from them about that video at all since?
No, I don't think so, Dal.
Bastards.
I
They
don't think
tried
so.
another one on one of my videos, man, and I did a copied and paste the whole, fucking act to them Fair Use Act. And within fucking 3 or 4, no, it was 6 days, they came back and they just said, congratulations, you have, won your.
All right. Yeah, I don't think I heard anything. I didn't definitely get any emails from them, but
Yeah.
I'll have a look. I'll have a look at that actually. But can you see it now? A bit better, Dal. I can put it up a small bit more.
Yeah, a little bit more if you can, P.
We just put it up another percentage. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's cool, man. We've alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta. Yeah, there you go. That's the sixth letter is basically a Z to us.
Mm.
And
Yeah, that's interesting now, isn't it?
yeah. And eta, which is the H. It's like visually it's a H. It's but phonetically it's eta. I don't know. They put a lot of fucking things in the Greek and they made it up. They wrapped it up like as if it's a 2,000 year ago
Right. Right.
fucking, civilization. And
But I think the important thing, Dal, is we have to realize that this is not the work of man. This is what I was asking earlier on about what is real, because I've said it before as well. Once we come off heliocentrism and we get away from scientism and start to question everything, and this is a big problem as well, isn't it, within flat Earth? But yeah, we cast everything aside. Then there's very little lonely place to be. Where do you go to? And then the Bible is there waiting for you, Del, isn't it?
that's the thing. All of that, you have to realize that all of that is coming from
Yeah.
the same source. So
Yeah.
you can't just, well, I personally, I'm not telling anyone else what to fucking do. But me, in my journey, I've gotten to the stage where I can't just throw my lot in with one section of a book that, or one, belief system, which is obviously coming from the same place where everything else is coming from, lies and all, all the deception, the bullshit. It's all coming from the same place as far as I can see.
Oh, fuck it, Dell. I'm after thinking of something else now. Well, I've been
What's-
reading not that I've been reading, but the most important books of the Revelation or the Bible are the three books of the Revelation, last three of them. And for me, it's perfectly clear what's going on here. But I think it's book 19, the Lamb appears with the sword coming from his mouth. The sword coming from his mouth. So the sword being the S word.
Word being the word, the S
Mhm.
word. Yeah. That's the other thing about Saw, man. Did I tell you this? I put it in the chat. You said that someone sent you a cryptic message about Saw,
Yeah,
right?
sharpen your saw.
Yeah. Well, then the other thing is that it's also a fucking movie, right?
Mm.
These bloody things are. But it was like a franchise. There was like been Saw 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 or whatever. And they're basically just people getting chopped up in fucking dungeons in
Right.
Eastern Europe by rich elite businessmen who just pay to kill people. It's like a holiday resort. See, this is what the Saw is in those movies.
Right.
I know
I
it's
saw the first. I did see the first movie. That was very gruesome, wasn't it?
I did see Saw when it came out. Yeah, it was fucking.
Did you say you did Seesaw when it came out? Did you?
She saw Maggoty Daw fold her bed and lay in the straw. And she probably ended up on the cover of fucking Economist.
It is, this is where we got to go back to Dell. We got to go
Yeah.
back to the earliest of times and all of those little nursery rhymes and thoughts that stick. The more I see it, the more even the tooth fairy, you know what I mean? So there's great value in your teeth. And all the truth has been told to us as children. That's why I say that we are only halves. We have become diluted from that perfect innocence, by this fabricated realm or society we're in, or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is fucking. I think it's going to be. That's what I'm saying. Once the ultimate solution presents itself, it's going to be true, undeniably. So to me, myself, anyway, it'll just be supported from all sides.
The
Um,
Greek alphabet. Just back to it. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, but I'm looking
no,
at
no, you go, don't apologize.
um I'm looking at it here, right? The Zeta one fucking was just in my memory, from the iota, man. That's I, right? It's just
Mm,
an iota. I don't have an iota, man. Have you ever heard that
right.
saying?
Of course, yeah, of course.
So they've obviously taken the bits of it's like as if they build up this whole thing, then they make it irrelevant, but they put in enough stuff from it to carry on onto the. Why would we be even talking about this? But it's
Mm,
there for a specific reason, and iota in the Greek alphabet. What
mm.
was the consequences of not having an iota in the past? Because we use it today by saying, I don't have a fucking iota, man.
Mm. And I, of course, is me. It's the
I, me, and yeah,
so
everything
if,
else.
we're, if we've lost ourselves, Del, if we've become this logo, this combobulated from ourselves, or we want to put that.
I'd say the Greek alphabet would be a good representation of our lostness.
Excellent. And I'm looking at Tau Ceti Alpha, one of the Ball Earther from Earth discussions. He's called after a Greek
Oh,
letter in terms of Tau T.
oh, yes. There you go.
Thousand, a
And they had,
thousand.
and they had a band as well called Tapao.
Oh, I remember that. I
And
remember that.
don't look so hard. You're China in.
I'm in my hand. Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you, They're fucking just putting it out there. And Pete, I don't know. It's just it really is a bloody consciousness flow thing.
Sure is, Dal.
Look at this stuff.
Look at pi here. We have pi.
Well, pi always with the maths. The pi was highlighted even. Say pi would be more famous than iota, say. But yet, for some strange reason in Ireland, iota is a saying. Like, I don't have an iota of that.
Yeah, I think that'd be universal. Well,
it probably is, but I don't know. I'm just probably just from hearing Irish people say it. You know?
So omega W, okay.
Yeah.
But I mean,
so we have the omegas and all that. We see we're famous, like, alpha and omega, of course, being famous, pushed with the religion and Jesus being the alpha and omega, which implies the beginning and the end. But when you look at that, right, the end is omega in their alphabet, but our alphabet is the end is Z, and Z is zeta, and it's fucking right. It's the equivalent of F.
It is, yes. Is it F the 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're right, yeah.
And it's also 6, you see. I don't know, man,
It's very interesting, Dale, isn't it?
It fucking is, I think I'll go back and start learning Greek.
But, I mean...
We might find the lost chord in there. I'm being facetious, but look at the other one.
I mean...
Lambda, right? Lambda is a fucking arrow. It's the arrow, man. It's the pointer. See? You were doing lambdas all over the fucking Economist tonight.
Yes, of course I was. And, of course, Jesus is the lamb as well.
Yeah.
The lambda. No, the lambda.
And right after that, and that is a very famous fucking symbol to anyone on the internet who downloads stuff, eTorrent. See? It looks like an M in the English, and it's a U with a line to it. There you go. Yeah.
This one here?
Yeah. eTorrent. See that M-U-E.
Yeah, they're the baby. That's the capital. That's the small letter.
The uTorrent.
Never said that before.
Heard of uTorrent, the software for downloading fucking torrents.
It's like a H upside down as well, isn't it?
It's a H upside down as well, yeah.
Wow, this is cool now. A new context again, but yeah, what I was just saying about the Bible. So once we leave that, then the Bible is waiting for you on flat Earth, saying, "Look, we predicted all this stuff. The Bible knew this way back when." So we're assuming that everything was written thousands of years ago. So then that would have legitimacy to it. But if we consider that it wasn't written, well, you say 1649-ish, I say a bit before that, but in and around the same time, that changes up the game again then, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It really does. And that's why that's why I think the most dangerous group on flat Earth are the Bible literalists. I really do. And they're growing in force as well, Dal.
And they're changing their names.
Yeah. Yeah, they're everywhere.
That's a song. You change your name, but that's okay. It's necessary. Behind, you don't need anyway. Remember that song?
Well, I don't remember the song, but I can relate to the sentiment anyway. And I reckon all of these truths are being told to us on many different levels. And it's only when it's like when we went back to the Economist 2015 that we knew the solution would be Mauritius and the dodo, and it's knowing that then it was relatively easy to figure out that indeed was the case. But I think we'll find the truth everywhere once we sort of get certain keys, you know what I mean?
Mauritius evokes ideas of beaches, honeymoon. Also in your ear and like listening to it, it's delicious.
Mauritius, delicious Mauritius.
Mauritius, delicious. And then you got your fucking, here's the weird one, man. Dodo and turkey dressed because it's delicious. and you're not on Easter Island. Is there a Christmas Island? But there's Mauritius.
Right.
I know that sounds fucking weird, but you know,
It's all interconnected, man. It's all
it is all
interconnected.
interconnected. It fucking is. You got your Alice sitting in a checkerboard room
Mm,
having tea with the fucking rabbit. You know,
mm.
you know, oh man, the imagery, you see, there's the different layers even to the concept of dodo earth. That's what's getting me, man. Everywhere we fucking look on any conspiracy, it all of a sudden then manifests into, by joining dots and free association of the idea.
Right.
It,
Right.
it turns into fucking layers. And even now, I'm looking at this in real time in my mind, and we're looking at more layers within
Right.
the layers.
And I have said it before, though. Don't my own thoughts are not to get too intricately involved in terms of deep research. We've done all that in one sense. Everything else will be simple, I think, and it's just we're overlooking something. We're sort of overcomplicating it. But that's the way I do see it.
Might possibly be overcomplicating it, all right. But like, we're back to the slew of information that
Yeah,
you know.
that's it. Yeah, and I mean everyone's. That's what I keep saying as well. Everyone's at their own position. Right? There's no there's no hierarchy or anything like that. Just everyone is coming at everything from their own particular position, and that's why everything is valuable. And that's why. How do you feel about how do you think about the chat, the no wrenches, Del? How's that going? I mean, I don't.
And the chat was fucking grand tonight. You know, there was no need for any. Well, I don't know. It's funny that there was a few that are normally around and they weren't around. They didn't turn up.
Right.
And there was no sort of agitation going on. The few that were in the chat tonight, it was grand, you know.
Yeah, I just went in briefly. I send you the chat or the link as well. But no, that's grand by me. The last thing I wanted to, we know the nature of this arena. It's just actors everywhere. I mean,
the only reason for someone like that would be turned off by the chat would be if it is full of people that are just going out of their way to shock people by using foul language and coming up with the worst insults. Right? You can see that at times, but that's kind of old at this stage too. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it was a troll conference on or something this week. I don't know. But anyway, I'm only joking. But
even the trolls have to take holidays as well, right?
That tonight was wrench free, and it was also insult free to the majority. You know what I mean? I don't think there was even anyone fucking. A few people telling each other to feck off now and again, but in good spirits, funny way.
Good. That's the way we want it, and not that there was many there. I'm not bothered about that at this stage. But the last thing I'd want is, we know the nature of the arena. We know that there are actors everywhere, and that's up most especially on the flat earth. It's easy to identify the baller antagonist actors because they're the people with the same position, with the same questions, the same defense, day in, day out, week in, week out. Whereas the flat earth actors, they're pretty thick on the ground as well, Del. But the one thing I wouldn't want is anyone genuine just being steered off from chat because it was just full of messers, or just.
Well, there's always the sort of the fucking what do you call it of that, the risk or the whatever of that. But at the same time, P, we have to remember that people are fucking grown adults, and they got to get their own fucking cop on and not be all offended and broken up by what someone says or whatever. You see, you can see that in chats as well, where there's sort of like back and forth scripts of fomenting arguments about stuff. It goes on and on and on, and you can just see it by the way people are going on. But if this old it is a hoary chestnut as well of oh, we have to fucking keep everything right because new people. Why are new people just come off a fucking different place? You know that where they've never seen
Yeah,
an insult
just off the
before.
board. They're just off the board. Yeah.
Where are these the new people that we want to mold into? Fucking what? You know,
Yeah. It's
why
all nonsense
the
talk, isn't
very
it?
mentality where that comes from
Yeah.
is questionable, really.
Yeah, it's all nonsense talk, and no one sets out the flat Earth rules. And look,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how you feel about Hoy and Snack to the Future. I know you said you've spoken with both, but
I have, man, and it's like everything else. You have to fucking think about it and whatever. But
yeah,
uh,
yeah, but I think it makes sense to me. But I'm pretty sure in my own brain. I mean, even Hoy, even Snack didn't deny it or anything, and we were sort of communicating in the chat while he was talking to Spaceman, because it did get a bit heated, you know what I mean? So it's
you
when
see,
you're
I haven't been
involved.
able to hear that, P, because he takes these fucking videos down, the spaceman.
Oh, did he? Oh, so you haven't had? Oh man.
Insane. Remember you said the other night, and I said I'd go and have a listen to it, and I haven't been able to find it. And then I noticed last night's one when you were on it. That was gone today, but I was able to grab that before he deleted it, and I recorded the audio of it as well because I think that like it's a 4 hour long thing, but the first 2 hours is just bullshit. But when Curved and you go on and
Mm.
fucking man, I even listening to that, right, and I had another bit of a listen today when I was trying to get divide it between the bit where you join and where there's actually something happening. And I was
Right.
listening back, and the thing about Curved, right, is he can be funny and he can be polite and what,
Yeah.
but and the cat thing is fucking, it's very funny. Yeah, and if you want to, I actually went and looked at that software as well. I said, yeah, well, whenever I have $69 to spare, I might buy it because it has all this bullshit attached to it. You don't just have to be a cat. You can potentially have a dodo talking there, Pete. Funny, but anyway, that's frivolous. Comment on that. But what I did notice was those two feckers. They just they had an ability to obfuscate everything that you're talking about. The fucking right Spaceman was trying to argue that nine and he was thrown in the word topography as if nobody ever heard of topography before. Right. There's right, we live on a ball, but you can't measure curvature because of topography. Have you not heard of
Yeah.
that, you idiot? Topography. Right?
Yeah. Have you ever heard of it? Have you ever heard of a hill? He said to me.
Yes, that
That's
was the thing. And you were trying to explain, right? Even your steps of stairs going up the stairs, and you gradually, made that out like over 1,000 miles or
yeah.
950 miles was what his
Yeah.
driving. Like he testified that he drove for a 950 miles and it was flat. And when you
Right.
explain to him, well, you should have a drop in curvature, then he just goes all topography. And it's disingenuous and Curved, as polite as he is, but I can see where he's coming from. He's being totally disingenuous because he fucking joined in that whole bullshit,
Mm.
right? An average person with a bit of intelligence listening to the conversation, if they never heard about the, anything before, the flat earth or whatever, they would have to say, oh no, hang on a minute, you're ballers and you're saying that, there's
Yeah.
curvature. But yet you'll drive for 950, which totally that means there's like a fucking plank coming out of your curve, out of your ball, and you're driving along that. So where's the drop then? It's complete bullshit, man. But I can see how they're doing that. And yeah, for people who wouldn't be new to this stuff, they just listen to that and it's
If I'm
literally
not,
like
yeah.
thrown in
Mm.
an already pre-constructed answer, which
Yeah.
doesn't make sense, but it just rattles off and yeah.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Dal, just a rough calculation, 8 inches per mile squared 1,000 miles, which is what he said, 950 miles. 1,000 miles, 1,000 thousands is a million, right? 8 inches per mile squared, so it's 8 million inches.
Yes.
8 million inches of drop. What's that divided by 12? No, that doesn't sound right. Does it to get feet?
That's a job for a NASA supercomputer.
Well, 8 divided by 12 is, you're talking about 600. What, that's 2/3. 666,000 feet of a drop, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but that's topography for the guy.
That's some fucking hill to miss, isn't it, Del?
Yeah. Nah, just keep watching the next Star Trek, the Next Generation, Spaceman. You'll be grand. We'll meet you on the other side. And shake your hand.
Yeah, but sure, look.
Once you've won.
That's what I was saying about him, and I won't keep it on for much longer, Del, if that's all right, man. We definitely have to have a much fuller talk the next time.
Yeah.
But you can tell straight away. I apparently Negatory and Gem Panda called this guy Spaceman the leader. So I don't think there's any regimental sense, but just in terms, they're all bullshitters and wafflers. So he's just probably the best waffler, you know what I mean? But pretty transparent. If you're new to this, well, you should be able to see through this, just as you pointed out there, see through these characters pretty easily. And in one sense, Del, is this the point? Is this the point? Is this the stage we're coming to, that all these people, all the illusions have to be shattered the way I look upon it? So it's getting easier and easier to see these characters for who they are.
Yes, see, there's the distinction as well. There's people here that are just literally, I won't say damaged, but I would say heavily influenced by the programming that's being given out to us. And they're literally doing it because they genuinely believe in what they're doing. But on the bigger scale of things, there's an orchestration there of characters who are trying to fucking guide in a certain way the narrative for, you know, the one reason could be the ultimate fucking realization, you know, and whatever that will be, you know, in a good way, you know what I mean? Everybody realizes that this is what it was all about. Or it could be just your negative.
Yeah, there's a few ways of looking at it.
Bullshit. Yeah. No, yeah, there's different ways of looking at it. And you see, that's the thing. Keep seeking out people who fucking are looking for the truth and run a mile from those who say they fucking have it.
They found it is right here. And if you can see my screen here, Dale, I just did that calculation. Over 950 miles, there should be 601,666 feet of drop.
There we go. That's a lot of sixes, man.
If I divide that by 5,000, that'll give you a number of miles. So you should experience 100. That doesn't seem, but I guess
120.333 recurring.
Yeah.
That's like, are you sure it's not 420.333?
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
It would.
420.
It just dropped to 0 and we've got a 12 with lots of trees. See the trees, man? Is that the trees as in lumber instead of number?
Trees.
The magic number.
It's everywhere. I bet you we're going to see this everywhere. And that's why I say it's as well, because of the bumblebee and the association with Freemasonic symbolism.
Yeah. And Pete, what would we associate with? Here's one for you. What would we associate with people who it makes it their business to cut down trees? What do where? Would you imagine a tartan fucking kilt, but it's in a shirt form?
Yeah. Interesting, isn't it? Lumberjacks.
The lumberjacks. The jack. What's the jack?
No, that keeps coming up, Del. Jack keeps coming up now, I have to say.
From a jack to a king, from London to a wedding ring.
Nice one, Del. Nice one. That keeps coming up, Del.
Yeah.
IPS's name is Jack as well, Jack Larson.
Jack
Yeah,
Larson.
apparently.
Fucking that guy, Glenn A. Larson. Is he any relation?
Uh,
Quint,
Larson, yeah, of course we know
Quint,
that grand larceny and Jack. That's the
grand
reason.
larceny. You'll be charged with grand larceny. But Glenn A. Larson is a fucking major producer of bullshit from the 80s, 90s. Well, when I say bullshit, a lot of were enjoyable television programs, but they were all cop shows. Fucking
Lumberjack.
he even did Battlestar Galactica, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong there. Don't quote me on that one.
Yeah.
Glenn A. Larson. If he's related to Larson, well then there you go. There's if anyone needs any more proof.
I doubt that's his real name, though, Del. You know what I mean? It's just another one of these.
The first time I ever saw him in action, he was calling himself Mark Sargent, and that was enough for me. I said, this guy's misrepresenting himself in this pretend fucking county council meeting.
Yeah, well, I mean,
for me, that was, I know you know, he's part of the narrative and all that, but I'm just saying, in my opinion of the narrative, well, if people didn't see that and go, well, should be watching him with a very suspicious mind if you're still watching him, you know. And
yeah.
that was like the first. So I don't even know what that guy is doing, or all these fucking penguins and stuff. I honestly don't know what that's about. You know,
Well,
apart from subversiveness and the division that it's causing.
Well, I did say, Del, after when the dodo came to mind to all of us to when we were in Dave High's hangout. So a few weeks later, out comes I mentioned this loads of times. Out comes
the dodo was prior to fucking this IPS phenomena.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, a couple of weeks later, out comes IPS comes on. Another flightless bird enters the scene after the dodo. Another flightless bird came back on, and Fepe has the face of Homer Simpson.
Yeah,
also there, the color. Well, Homer Simpson is known for his doughs and his donuts, but also the color of the beak. You'll never guess which color. It's
yellow.
Mustard.
It's yellow.
It is. It's September Clues yellow or Hidden Hand yellow.
Yes, that's Colonel Mustard, man. Colonel Mustard is part of the Colonel Mustard with a fucking, you know, candlestick in the drawing room, you know.
And Del, something biblical as well. You remember the quote about the mustard seed?
Yes, the mustard seed.
Smallest of all seeds, but produces the biggest bounty, I guess.
Yeah.
So another interesting.
So when is fucking the fig roll coming out? We'll have a fig roll faction. Flat Earth fig rolls will appear everywhere.
It's one of those things, like everything takes on a new significance now, or everything definitely has the potential to take on a new significance. And yeah, just like there's nothing to be scared of here. I think everything is representative of something, and I think that true story has always been planned to be unraveled, and this is exactly what
well,
we're going through now.
Well, I think of it as well, right? For one of your next hangouts, if you ever think of it, or if you think it's relevant, right? But I've have this idea for you to sing a song, right? Because a lot of the listeners love your songs, man. That's the other thing in the chat box. They do be going mad in the chat box. Sing us another song and all that. Here's one for you. I just want you to consider singing this one if you ever think of it.
I know it, Del, of course.
A Bunch of Time. Do you remember that one?
I'll surely do that for you, Del. No problem.
Yeah, well, that's just for me, but I would think I can imagine you singing it, and I think it's relevant as well. It's another one for Once I Had a Bunch of Time.
Come on, you maidens. That's not that one. Come on, you maidens, young and fair.
Come on, there you go. Yeah.
I'll definitely do that for you next time, Del, or whatever. I'll sing it in general. Wouldn't be one I'd sing normally now, but I know the song and I would have sang it before.
I know it wouldn't be one for me either, but it's kind of like a reminiscence or something, you know.
Lovely, lovely. I'll make a note of that, man, and that'll be cool. Yeah. Um, yeah, if you don't mind, Del, I'm gonna call it a night unless you had anything else. Sorry if you're only been on for a short amount of time
I
now. You're
don't
probably
know,
wide
it's
awake as well, are you?
a bit of an impromptu kind of thing anyway. But
No, great. But listen, it'd be great to come on the next time man, from the start, and we'd have a good chat, you know. And
we'll do a hangout one night where you play the guitar and I'll play the lead over here along with you. And then maybe we still haven't had that game of chess. And it's funny how chess has come up. It's come up so much in the journey.
yeah,
Right. So
yeah,
we'd love to have the game of
we
chess, you know.
definitely have to do that. We'll do that live or something. But
Yeah.
yeah, that sounds great, man. That sounds great.
So
Yeah,
I'm very happy with that one. To just do one night where we just do that. We play a few tunes, have a
love.
game of chess, and just chat like we have been tonight. Free association as well. We might come up with other
That'd be
ideas.
great, Del. And I think, you know, I literally, we're in for a big event here, 21st. I think we're going to
They
see.
keep they keep going on about it, you know, but like, you know, I'm kind of cynical in that way, and then break down that word. That's a weird one, you know, cynical.
Well,
But,
yeah, yeah,
but
you know,
yeah, all eyes are watching the 21st now, which is only a few days away.
mhm.
And of course, do you know what I'd be interested in seeing as well, man? Your man, what's his name? Oh, feckin' hell, Kellum. You know the guy who does the balloons? Um, oh, Jesus, I can't. Dwayne, your man Dwayne Kellum.
Oh,
He
those,
launched the balloons, right? And he actually has another one out now. He's done another test, right? Another test balloon, but all geared towards this 21st. So he's launching one with all cameras, all that shit, and no fanfare. You know what I mean? And I'm looking forward to the footage he gets from that one.
lovely, lovely. That would be brilliant, won't it? He is
Yeah,
some
so
fucking
that's
excellent.
something to look forward to. That's what I'm looking forward to now on the Flat Earth YouTube video front. You know, Dwayne.
Excellent, man. That should be very revealing.
Yeah,
Let me just ask you, Del, have you considered more what I've been saying about my idea of the barrier above and the mirror nature of it? And
the reflection, the sun
yeah,
being, yeah, the moon being yeah, man. I think I can visualize it. I
yeah,
can literally visualize that. And
mm,
like it's like the old movies where they have the broken down fucking merry-go-round, the broken down thing, and it's like going at like dun, 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 it's going down at slow speed, and it's
right,
vroom, vroom. And to us, right, it's a year, and the moon is doing its thing, and it's lunar. It's fucking, but yet the moon rises and sets every fucking day.
right,
Right?
right,
That's another thing that they is hardly ever mentioned in either baller camps or flat earth camps, right? The moon fucking rises and sets, and they say the phases of the moon and all that, and the new moon, but yet every day it fucking rises and it sets.
right,
So it's whatever angle it is, whatever that shard. We're inside one of these like a salt cellar where it's all fucking jagged
right,
mirror, right? And at the same time, you're in like the hall of mirrors where you see the one and there's one and one and one, and
lovely, lovely.
someone is over on the other fucking mirror and they're saying, "No, it's here. Look at, I got it," and you're there and the other one, "No, it's not." Right?
Excellent.
See, none of this stuff goes over my head, P. I
Right.
consider it all.
Nice
I
one.
don't say I fucking definitively believe it, but I can see it and I can fucking
Yeah,
articulate it properly. And that's where
I
my
think
position has
I,
always
might-
been.
I might have mentioned, well, I did mention a good while back that I had something that if it was going to sort of pan out and be shown to be true, it would end everything. I'm still haven't left it, Dal. I'm very close. I haven't been looking into it even. The little bit I have looked into it, there's some fucking key things. And I'll definitely. I said I might put up a hangout or a video maybe of that before the 21st. So I might get working on that. It'll only take a few minutes though. And again, it's one of those things that once you see it, it'll be verifiable by everybody, and it will just shatter everything. Let me say about the moon, Dal. They talk about the moon and its libation, right?
Yeah.
I say that's the sun. The sun and it's the magnetic north changes every day, right? So it's a continual shift. That's what I say the sun is doing. The sun is changing with its three different movements with the capital G, but we're seeing that effect then as it transfers to its reflection when we see the moon, and so many other things as well. Bob was talking about these shadow snakes that are seen 30 seconds either side of the ellipse, and they're just sort of shadows moving around. It's exactly what you see in a swimming pool when you have light broad at the top. You know, you see these little snake, as well, snaky things moving around under. I think that's going to be a big proof if you look at it the right way in terms of knowing that this is lights and water that we're looking at or looking through. But yeah, very interesting.
Do you remember the eclipse, man, in 1984? There was one in, I think it was 1984 or 83, but a total eclipse here in Ireland, like.
Vaguely now, I'm not.
Yeah, I remember that one, right? And then there was one in, I think it was 1999.
I do remember that.
1999. It was also the time of the Hellbop fucking. There was like this triangle in the sky every fucking night
I
for
remember that as well. Yeah.
months. And they said like it was the Hellbop comet. But to me, it was like just this fucking arrow, like your arrows you were drawn, like a rainbow-esque kind of arrow,
Mm,
shimmering in the sky. Like it could have been just like, any star you would say and just highlighted a bit. And
right,
it was
right.
there.
Never moved.
It was something that was fucking there. Yeah. And it wasn't like streaking across the sky.
No.
It was literally there like a heavenly body, like a
Mm,
star, or and it rose and sort of set, like we say, but like going across. So it was there. It wasn't like just this streak. So even if you try to imagine that in a globular solar system scenario, it wouldn't it just wouldn't be like that, right? But anyway, whatever it was there to see. That's all I'm saying at the time. And that was the time as well of the eclipse, because I remember going out. It was like 11 o'clock in the morning or something like that, or maybe 10 o'clock, something like that, right? And out in the garden, I was living out in Clane at the time, right? And it was around 1999, maybe 2000. It was before 9/11 anyway. That's for sure, because I was living somewhere else when 9/11 happened. So it was definitely, in the late
Maybe
1990s.
It was important for 9/11. I
Yeah.
know.
Well, someone can probably Google what year it was exactly, but I'm
I remember. Yeah.
going from memory here. It was 1990, and it did the so-called moon at the time, they were telling us, went in front of it. All I can tell you is that the sun got fucking obscured by this black thing, and you could literally feel it getting cold.
Right.
Was eerie. It's an eerie fucking feeling and a scary kind of feeling. You're just there.
Yeah.
It's
I
only the
read.
media crowd that are there and they're rabbling up a crowd and they're going, yeah, and they're clapping and all that shit. No, you're standing in your back garden looking at the sun being blacked out. It is,
Mm,
it's a fucking, I won't say a completely scary feeling, but it is one that you will never forget,
yeah. It's an eerie feeling. I remember the 1997 one. Was it? I think it might have been 97.
97. I wouldn't be surprised if it was, man.
I
I'm
think it
honest.
was. I remember where it was. But yeah, I mean, as to nothing works on. That's what I was saying to curved water tonight. Absolutely everything you believe or what you're pushing is all fantastical nonsense.
Yeah.
It's not one point that will bring down the heliocentric, because again they've had so much time to sort of perfect the model, but it's still in tatters. But it's the accumulation of problems or errors or difficulties within the model that collapses it.
Yeah.
But yeah, regarding the eclipse style, I mean, Yeah, I think we can say that everything works in clockwork, in a clockwork sense, a broken clockwork, but a silver clockwork sense. The way I view it, anyway, not necessarily the solar eclipse here, but in general, if you have a light and a light and its reflection, and both are revolving around, well, how will I put this? If the reflection itself comes to cover up the light itself, you know what I mean? It's sort of rebounding back. It's like the infinite mirrors in one sense, you
Yeah.
know. That's the way I view that. But
It's like a rabbit being dazzled in the headlights.
well, I mean, in
Which
terms of
Mark Sargent always looks like he's dazzled, surprised.
right. Well,
I know. To be fair, you know, I'm just being.
no, I mean, Mark Sargent is the key here in everything, as the way I look at it. And
He's
I mean,
Sergeant Prepper, and he's also Sergeant Bilko. He's
right, and you were
bro.
perfect. You were spot on with that, weren't you? You were spot on with that.
He
With the
lost
big,
the glasses, and then he said they were only pretend glasses. Why would you wear pretend glasses?
right? Because I tell there's a different form of communication going on here. But
Yeah.
when I say that they opened up the secret show, I'm saying 4 weeks in a row now, not just three. For what first week was when I found the Paul is Dead mustache. Patricia came on with Paul is Dead. You know, that's fine. And
You're talking about the fucking Beatles, right? Right? Now, what did they do? They didn't ferry across the Mersey, but they ferried.
that's true. That's true.
Now, I just say that I have to go to the Jacks, man. You play a song for your listeners.
But listen, Dale, I have to go as well, man. So will we call it? I'm just going to just play us out. But let me just say before you go, I'm sorry for cutting it short as well, Dale. But
no, it's all right, man. Go on. Yeah.
I was just going to say that. Oh, fuck it. What was I going to say? Oh, man, I'm after losing it now. I was going to say something.
Sorry. Did I knock it out of your head?
No, you're okay. You're grand. Well, yeah. I was going to say that with the Paul is Dead, with the Walrus's Paul mustache, that was an acknowledgement. But the week after that, Patricia came on with her one sleeve and the other sleeve off. Week after that, that was the Hidden Hand. And the week after that, Patricia came in with a topless thing, and Mark had, forgot his hat. I take it that he took off his hat because he realizes the piece of the puzzle. But the following week, then, that you're talking about ferry across the Mersey, what date was the meetup? It was on the 8th of the 8th.
Yeah.
Perfect.
There you go.
No, lovely, man. And yeah, they're actors on the stage, and a different story has been told. And I think you were spot on with Bilko, and I think that's been proven to be the case as well. So.
Yeah, just my little contribution to the whole chaos.
All right,
I'm going to the Jacks. You play, and if you're still here when I come back, grand. If not, good night to you, and we'll definitely.
We'll definitely talk to you, Del, and it's been cool, man. And this is what I've often said about even coming on here on my own. It's even just saying something out loud that things will occur, that if you had kept silent about it, thought wouldn't have entered your brain. Yeah. So, yeah, it's definitely great to talk.
No, man, there's definitely people listening, and they're taking heed, man. So, right, go on, man.
Cheers, buddy. We'll talk soon. Okay, man. Okay, friends, it's that time again. I shall leave you with my usual. And thank you for joining in, and thank you to Del for coming along, adding his gems. Del has a lot of gems. We definitely should get to hear more from Del. So I'll leave you with the usual and say thank you for tuning in. And don't forget your Z's. Don't forget to catch yourself some Z's. Okay. Oh, of all the money that e'er I had, I spent it in good company. And all the harm that e'er I did, alas, it was to none but me. And all I've done for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall. So fell to the party was good night, and joy be with you all. Of all the comrades that e'er I had, they are sorry for my going away. And all the sweethearts that e'er I had, they wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls unto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I will gently rise and I'll softly call. Good night and joy be with you all. If I had money enough to spend and leisure time to sit a while, there is a fair maid in town that sorely has my heart beguiled. Her rosy cheeks, her ruby lips, I own she has my heart enthralled. So fill to me the parting glass, good night and joy be with you all. So fill to me the parting glass, good night and joy be with you all.
Good man, Pete.
All right. Good night, friends, and until next time. Take
Good
it
night, man.
easy. I love you, Steve.